morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. It's a beautiful, scorching Wednesday morning here in Mesa, Arizona. I just went outside. I had to get something out of my car to make sure it didn't melt, even though it's shaded. And it is hotter than the devil's dick, and it's going to be a great day. Get outside if you're in Mesa, Arizona, and you wanna melt. Hump Day. That's right. It is Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to all who celebrate. Also, it's our our members only event tonight, where Jen will probably pretend that she's not doing humping and pretend that she's watching the movie. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
we're narrowing down. As you guys are rolling in, if you are a member, there is still time to vote. I'll try and remind you later on as well. Let me refresh the vote here. It looks like right now the two choices are V for Vendetta and the campaign. The campaign is with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, and the campaign is winning with 67% of the vote. We will make a final determination at the end of the live today. Happy accident. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? What are you doing? That's crazy. I don't know. I was just reading their comments from earlier and then today. You can, or just right now, you can read them. It's crazy. That is crazy. Welcome everybody on TikTok. Good to have you guys here. As you're coming in, if you could help us get those likes up, that would be greatly appreciated. I see 757 already. And as we get going today, we are going to cover some Israel stuff. So obviously that always gets us a little flag. So if you want to protect the live and you enjoy watching on TikTok, please make sure you're gifting. And I think it's working. You guys have done a great job the last couple of days, and I got some warnings yesterday, but no flags, and we were not taken down. So that's pretty cool. Jen,
Knock on wood.
how are
Knock
you?
on wood.
Knock on wood. Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic.
You
Fantastic.
got a date lined up for tonight for movie night?
Um, I mean, I could have one, but I was going to move that to tomorrow. So
What's wrong with us? Why can't we be?
nothing's wrong with you. That's why I'm moving the date to tomorrow
Why can't they be part of movie night with us? Is what I was saying.
because I don't discuss the show. Well, I do discuss the show, but not
Well, we're gonna be
not
discussing a different show.
no,
Oh, okay.
no. I can't trust. Can't trust y'all.
Good. Yes, Rich. Big night for Democratic Socialists across the country. We'll cover that here in a minute. Yeah, I think we should have a group date too into Dallas, but some people doesn't want us. Some people don't want us to be involved in their dating life for some reason.
No, because I can't. Like I said, you guys can't behave. I did. So remember the one, the one, the one message that we read where the guy, like I hadn't sent, like he just came in with the damn baby girl. Do you remember that message?
Yeah.
So I never replied, and he came back again
And did you give him a
last
second
night.
chance?
No, of course
Oh,
not.
what did we go with last night?
Last night came with a hey, and that's about
Come on, man.
it.
Come on, man.
Girl, I'll send it to you in our chat. It was just like,
Hey.
I mean, so I thought about, I did think about like I guess maybe we could include the channel with it, maybe what response I should send back to him. I guess we could do something like that.
I forgot the rest of this.
Yeah,
Can I read? I don't know if you guys remember
go
this
ahead.
message.
You're,
Can I
you're
read
gonna
this?
read it or you're gonna show it, whatever you want to do.
It says their name, so I won't show it.
No, I blocked it out, didn't I?
No, but it's fine.
Oh,
I'll just
here,
read it.
hold okay. Here, I'll
It's fine. I'll just read it. It's good. I'm just trying not to laugh. Damn, baby girl, you're so fucking sexy. Wait, actually, let me do it punctuated correctly because there was no comma there. Damn, baby girl, you're so fucking sexy. Sheesh. Heart emoji, fire emoji, 100. Jesus Christ. I will fuck the shit out of you, sweetheart. That's so aggressive. And then it's the sweetheart at the end. And you can sit on my face. Just throwing that out there. LOL. That was
So
on Cinco de Mayo. Now we're coming back at 9:50 p.m. Hey, fire emoji 100 smirk. I don't even understand those emojis together with the
I don't
message of
either.
hey.
I don't either. And what's even, I mean, he's like, I think like 2 miles from me is what it says. I'm like, yeah, no, thanks. No. So, I mean, I did. So I sent you a revised one that, it doesn't show the name, but yeah,
This
but
is
it's
sexting. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, one-sided,
I
but
mean, okay, you sent that. I do feel like people need to see this. The amount of emojis
you have
used
to,
here
you have to
is
switch, oh, you switch the screen. Okay.
yeah. What is this? Why why what are these? How do those make any sense?
I don't
Is
know. So I mean, it's entertaining.
I feel like this is one of those people you invite over and give them the wrong address
Yeah. So I
and
mean,
tell them to just walk in. Just walk in.
so yeah. So
If
that was
nobody
fun.
answers, pound on the windows. Wear overalls with no shirt underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess we can maybe make, you know, if we want to for the plot, maybe we could figure out a way to respond back to him.
Are you gonna let us talk to him? That's the
Maybe
How about that's what we do? That's what we'll do in the chat for movie night tonight. We'll while we're
awesome.
watching the movie, we will crowdsource
You can,
Jen's responses to. We're gonna call
yeah,
him. We're gonna call him Doug. Sorry, Doug. Is Doug still doing TikTok? Sorry, Doug.
yeah.
It's not you. It's
Not
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 you.
that type of. Let's figure out. Oh, other fun fact. So I've had a few Matthias's pop up as well. I never had one before, but the other nickname you made up
Oh, that's
started
right.
showing up.
Maybe
So
I willed it into existence. Sorry for certain people for triggering you with the name Doug. RCP, so what you're saying is your DMs are open. That is definitely not what I'm saying. I don't even know. Jen, do I have DMs? You sent me some DMs yesterday, actually, from my TikTok. Uh, they're open.
I mean,
You can write me messages on TikTok. Just Jen will see them. Thank you,
yeah.
La Ra Lee, for the gifts over on TikTok as our number one gifter so far in Positive Impact. Appreciate you guys.
Yep. So no, I mean, we can maybe figure out during movie night some responses back. But
I
yeah,
like
no,
that.
he just obviously I didn't respond. Um,
I will be sativaed tonight.
Surprise.
I already got it. Well, I already picked the strain. I'll go pick it up after. It's gonna go really well tonight.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad. Um,
Thank you.
all right. Well, I guess we can get going. So but yeah. So it's another fun fact is when you said that you needed 10 minutes today, like
Yeah.
I should bump this up to 9:45. I knew I should have
You didn't even
because
respond to that. Oh yeah, you did. Never
yes,
mind.
I did.
Sorry, never mind. You hit me with a K though. If I ever text you back K, the
Oh, I
next
didn't mean to
text
hit
I got
K.
from you would be so mean. You hit me with a K.
That's true, and that was my bad. I didn't that usually K is passive aggressive.
Don't worry. I text you
And
back.
thanks,
I
appreciate it.
react. I hit you with the
And
thumbs
I
up.
saw,
We're good now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but usually K is passive aggressive, but I didn't mean it that time. I wasn't being passive
You know,
aggressive.
you
So
were all morning. Now that I look at, in fact, I'm looking at all of our last texts. You are one wording the fuck out of me. Not in,
mm,
no full sentences. Lot of one words. This morning, just 8:30 in the morning. Outline. Not even a question mark with that one. Yesterday, at least, like usually you'll at least put a question mark. Just the word outline, and
well, I mean,
then
why I'm
title
texting
focus
you.
question mark. You are, and then K. This is troubling,
I mean,
Jen.
I just I'm just trying to be efficient with our time.
Yeah, sure.
There's no need to fill it up with fluff.
I just want to know
So
why you hate me. That's all.
I don't
What did I
hate.
do?
I, probably something, but nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
I've been on my best behavior, trying to be a good
I
friend.
mean, yeah, I'm not mad at you for anything. I
Sure.
mean, and I would tell you if I
Sure.
was annoyed
Sure.
because I don't hold that in well. So,
Okay.
but So
It's
we can
fine.
get going on the show, or do you have any more
Yeah, just do your thing.
issues?
It's fine. Yeah, if we're not going to talk about it
Do you have any
honestly,
more
and
issues you'd like to address with me before we get
yeah, if we're
going?
not going to be honest about it and open about it, then let's just move on with the show. Like, let's
All
not.
right.
Fine, go ahead, do your thing.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Anyways, welcome everybody. So Jay's in his feelings today. So that's FYI.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Uh,
You see, now I'm being gaslit. It's your fault that you have feelings. It's incredible.
it's it's my fault that I have
No,
feelings, or
you're
you're
saying
it's
it's my fault that I have feelings. Like Jay's in his feelings. Couldn't. No reflection on your own actions. The
right.
disrespect.
Okay. Are you okay? Is everything
I
all
don't
right?
know.
Anything else?
Time will tell. We'll see.
Anything else you'd like to
Yeah, but I'm not.
bring up?
I don't feel like this is a safe space with you right now. I don't feel
Okay.
heard.
Well, I want to make sure you feel safe.
Well, I don't now. Now it's patronizing. Now I feel even worse. Now it feels like you're all mocking me collectively.
Well, I mean that's kind of how it goes.
All
But
right. Yeah, it's just the way it is.
anyways,
Go
we can get
ahead.
on to the show now. Welcome everybody. Like I said, Jay's in his feelings today. So welcome once again. Today is Wednesday all day, and we got a members only event. We're going to be watching one or two movies. We did have the channel created. If you're
Hold
a
on.
member,
Hold on.
what
Brianna,
what?
I need to apologize? How is this happening? How do I need to apologize? How dare you? Sorry.
I mean, it's
Sorry.
I mean, in
I
fairness,
overreact.
it's
That was an
usually your fault.
overreaction.
So
Sorry.
it
That's my
was.
bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways, so like I said, Wednesday today is our members only event. We in the Discord we have a channel to vote on the movie, which is between V for Vendetta and The Campaign. So if you guys want to, are we doing a cutoff time for the voting for that, or
It's just the end of the live
okay? So
or whatever you
I'll
want.
put another tag
Yes.
for that channel,
Okay.
so you guys can go. You can find where it is, and you can go over there and vote. And then we'll decide that for later today. So that'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so if you're not a member or subscriber already, um, you should become one so you can join us for these members only events so that you can see Jay whine some more about things that aren't that big of a deal. Anyways, like I said, so subscribe if you'd like to join us for those member only events on Twitch. You can use your Amazon Prime sub, so you don't have to use your own money, but a variety of memberships on YouTube. And then TikTok, if you subscribe on TikTok, you'll just want to maybe send me a message on Discord because there's not necessarily a way to sync that up. And just prove your membership so I can add you in so you can join. If you guys disagree with RTP and you'd like to come up and have a conversation, how you do that is you send me a message on Discord. My Discord username is the same as the Venmo. So Jen with two N's, Dub with two B's, the number one. And I can bring you on. So yeah, we got to hit the gift goal because this is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. So if we can knock out that gift goal quick, fast, and in a hurry, that would be dope. Uh, check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch, Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. Um,
Hey, is it true Bobby G's back on TikTok
oh
going by
yeah,
the name
he's been back.
C-Man?
Yeah. Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
what about wasn't there a C-Man that like freaked the fuck out at me one time and
That
then was
was
like blowing me up? It was C-Man. I
that was
remember.
Clue Man.
Clue Man. C-Man is Bobby. Bobby. Of course, Bobby G chooses a name that's like sounds like semen. Of course, of course he
I
did.
mean, I mean he doesn't. Yeah, he's a whole mess.
I
Like,
saw a guy at the grocery store yelling at his wife that looked exactly like Bobby last week, and I was like, God damn! I'm glad I don't have to see that guy anymore. Sounds like I might have to see him. It might have just
I've
been him.
actually
I don't know.
I've actually like through the dating apps I've run across a few that look like him, and it's just instant like absolutely not. So
Yeah,
but
cute.
yeah, so yeah,
Welcome back, Bobby.
yeah, he's back, I guess. And I think he's got all this evidence. He's going to sue more people. Blah blah blah.
Wait, he's back to bring back TikTok drama?
I mean, I've seen that where he's talking about suing people in comments. I don't know. Like, I don't go. I don't.
All right.
He's not. Oh, he did go up on Good Troubles live one day to like tell him how he doesn't know about the border because he was an expert.
Yeah, he sure is.
But anyways, so yeah, let's knock out that gift goal. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. We prefer the pay links because they take less from us. Um, so if you guys could help us out, with that'd be sweet. How long can you live without drinking water?
Uh, Not very long.
Your entire life.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, Professor Smoke. Yes, this is the typical LibCucks live stream. It's great to have you here. We'll at the end we'll maybe compare our cuckery resume, and we can see which one of us is a bigger cuck. I have this sneaking suspicion at the end of what we cover today, it will be you. I also think you guys got to stop using cuck. I feel like you've been called cucks for so long that you've just started like repurposing it, but it doesn't make any sense on this side of the aisle. It really does. Like I don't like who are we cucks to? We fucking we all hate each other. Nobody likes each other. Look how mean everybody is to me in here. I have big feelings today, and nobody's even being sensitive towards my feelings. I don't think this is a cuck room, so maybe the wrong place for that. James said, "Thank you for the $20 super chat for towards the gift goal. I appreciate that." All right, as we mentioned earlier, it was a big night for Democratic Socialists, and Zoran Mamdani went 3 for 3 on his picks or endorsements. I guess we'll start with Claire Valdez, who won the New York 7 primary. And I wanted to show this because this is what Republicans want you and establishment Democrats want you to believe is radical and terrifying.
Spent most of my life doing low-wage work, underemployed, working nights, weekends.
What would Congress be like if we elected fewer millionaires and more people who worked fast food jobs? Claire Valdez has worked at Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and Trader Joe's, and now she wants to work on Capitol Hill.
My name is Claire Valdez, and I'm running for Congress because workers deserve it all.
I need Claire Valdez as a partner in Congress, and our city needs someone with her organizing instincts and moral clarity to fight for a future where everyone can live with dignity.
When I worked at Taco Bell, I have this memory of messing up an order and my manager holding kind of 3 tacos in my face and basically saying, "You just wasted $7 of product," and he threw it in the trash.
That's crazy for a manager to say that. That's feels a little high and mighty. $7. What will we do? Jamar said, "Thank you for the show today," and I've input my recommendations for movie night. Michelle said, "Starting the Dollar Train." Appreciate you guys both.
Making $7 an hour, and I remember thinking, those tacos represent an hour of my life. How is that fair? Low-wage workers.
She did win. Yep. This is just a video from before she won. A lot of people may not have seen her.
Fast food and grocery stores and all kinds of industries get treated with so little respect in our world. They're the backbone of so many of the industries in this country that make, really wealthy people even wealthier.
Half of all Americans work service jobs, manual labor, or clerical work, but just 2% of Congress has ever done the same.
What Congress members who have never gone through that experience miss is how valuable and essential that labor really is.
But we know the
Who is she funded by? I believe she did not take any PAC money. I can double check that real quick.
power is with the people. The power is with the workers.
Eventually, Valdez became a member of the United Auto Workers and started organizing.
I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for my union.
For the first time, I had real power over my life. I could bargain for better wages, for better benefits, and that's what made me want to run for office.
So much of what we're fighting for right now is just control over our lives as workers.
We both come out of the same shop. We've been on bargaining teams together, and she's what Congress needs right now.
If you consider a good job to be one that's full-time, pays a living wage, and offers health insurance, only 1 in 3 New Yorkers have a good job. The rest are dealing with stagnant pay, and one of them...
Yeah, I'm looking at her fundraising. It is entirely small donors. No PAC money, no corporate money, nothing.
Most expensive cities in the country where living costs just keep rising. Primaries this week will determine whether Valdez has a chance to bring her experience working in low-wage jobs and organizing for better working conditions to a Congress that is deeply alienated from working people.
In Congress, we need to be supporting them. We can't be sitting on the sidelines while they're going up against Starbucks and Amazon and Walmart. We have to be on their side.
Valdez is backed by Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani, and her primary is on Tuesday, June 23rd.
When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win.
Anyway, so she won. Good night for, again, Democratic Socialists. I just want you to know, Mr. Miller, I looked up your suggestion. That's a crazy fucking suggestion for movie night. That made me laugh. Also winning, and now Dan Goldman is no more. And fuck, Dan Goldman is one of the most disappointing people for me in the history of my time as a progressive. Like, obviously, Fetterman tops the list, but Dan Goldman might be right up there. There was so much promise with Dan Goldman. He's a really smart guy. He's a trust fund baby, but I liked his platform. And then he just, like, his inability to say no to Israel absolutely decimated him. And as Brad Lander started passing him up in the polls, then Goldman got really it was doubling down on shit. Like if you're criticizing Israel, then you're anti-Semitic in a roundabout way. Just super disappointing. I'm happy to see Brad Lander win. And here was Brad Lander's message last night. I think this is an apt comparison. This is very similar to the Republican the Tea Party takeover of the Republican Party that was the response to Obama. So I think that was I don't remember if it was 2008 or 2012 when you had the big, I think it was 2010. And we can double check that. I think it's 2010 when you had the big Tea Party takeover. And you're seeing that here. Like, Democratic Socialists are doing very, very well. And they're doing very well because they're running on ideas. If you just ran on I'm a Democratic Socialist, probably wouldn't do that well. But they're not really running on I'm a Democratic Socialist. It's like, here's our ideas. And by the way, I'm part of this group, this collective, the DSA. And these are the things that as Democratic Socialists we run on. Remember, Democratic Socialism is like, Democratic is important there. Democratic acts as like the brake. Democratic acts as a way to not completely tie yourself to socialism or if you call yourself a Marxist, you're not completely tied to those ideals because you recognize that we live in a democracy. A bunch of Republicans saying it's not a democracy, it's a republic. That's silly, but I think this coalition is working really, really well, and I think you're seeing, like in New York, my cousin, who's definitely a 1%er, does very, very well. She was out there campaigning for Brad Lander, and so were her rich neighbors. Like, everybody wants this. Even those that are doing fine in this economy, that live around other humans, like in New York, where you're surrounded by people oftentimes out of your demographic, you see how people are struggling. And nobody wants to see, like, good people don't want to see that happening. I don't know what Republicans do in New York City. I don't know how it is that they vote Republican still and live there, but it was good to see. Happy for Brad Lander, happy for the Democrats, happy for the Democratic Socialists. Electric Dad said the Republicans will make fun of her for working fast food and say she should have gotten a better job. Exactly. Curious Red Monster said movie recommendation, Silence of the Dems with Anthony Flopkins. Thank you.
Can I ask you what you make of the comparisons to this moment, this movement, and the Tea Party? Do you think that that's an apt comparison? That
Betsy said to help smoke away your big feelings. Thank you.
It works, or is there something else you would say is happening here? Are Democrats comfortable with the idea that there may be their own version of a Tea Party movement happening right now?
Yeah, look, there's something to
yes,
it.
Brad Lander
people
won.
Are fed up with a status quo that isn't working for them, and that's everyday voter concerns that the price of housing is insane and people's wages aren't going enough to afford their health care, and who is fighting for them? And they feel that way about elites in general and definitely about the Democratic Party establishment. So that's similar. But there are some important differences also. First, we are doing it with a lot of joy. I mean, that's especially true in New York right now. Some of that is the Knicks, but some of that is Zohran's win and this energy. You guys were just playing a clip of him at a playground with toddlers behind him, because what we're fighting for is universal child care for every family. So we're mad at a system that makes it so hard, but we're joyful about what it looks like to deliver. That is very different energy than the Tea Party brought. We want to build something, not just break something.
Where it is, I like what he says, because the Tea Party largely just then became establishment. It was like it was like Ted Cruz, it was Mike Lee, and now these are like establishment Republicans. They've abandoned Tea Party shit. Jeremy said, "What's the worst thing about having sex with Jesus? He always wants to come into your heart." Jesus. Amber says, "Happy Hump Day." Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. Sorry to our Christian friends. It's just a joke. Be fine. And then this from Lander. This is part of the winning message. I've been arguing with my Republican adjacent friends in my group chat. They keep saying that like Democrats can't win elections. Democrats don't have ideas. Nobody will ever embrace a democratic socialist. And I keep telling them you're just wrong. Like you don't have a pulse. They keep saying that like Democrats can't win if they're anti-Israel. Of course they can win. That's the message that they want. Being anti-Israel, not anti-Semitic, not anti-Jewish, but anti-Israel, the Zionist apartheid genocidal regime is a good thing. People want that. And I think I saw yesterday a polling that said 41% of Republicans now want to decouple from Israel. So it's a very, very popular strategy. I think some people are just waking up to it. But Brad Lander, I think, nails it here.
If you had to distill it down, though, where do you think establishment and incumbent Democratic candidates went wrong here?
I mean, I think a few places. First, people taking money from corporate PACs, from Wall Street and private equity and crypto and AI and APAC. Voters are done with that. They can see through it.
Shout out to them, too. Showing that you don't have to bow to corporate money, to PAC money, to big corporate interest money. You can win campaigns on a shoestring budget. You can do it because people care more about you not taking that money than they care about how many commercials they see. That can offset the commercials. And the commercials are so bad now, the attack ads are so bad that I think one of the things that you're seeing backfire, and I think good political strategists are realizing this, that if you don't have a lot of money and your opponent is going to run attack ads against you, don't run ads. Don't respond to the attack ads because they're going to look silly. It's going to look like one person just simply like trying to smear your opponent. And then if every time they see their opponent is standing in front of people, they're speaking about real issues, they're out in the community, like those optics go a long way. And because Republicans don't have a platform to run on, like this is what will be interesting during these midterms. They will largely go into hiding. If you're a Republican and you're running against a very progressive candidate, legitimately your best option is to go into hiding. If you engage with a progressive candidate right now, you're going to lose on basically every issue except for socialism is bad. But like you're not getting those voters anyways if you're a progressive. But yeah, big ups to progressives. I'm with you. This is one of those times in history when there will be a progressive push, and then what we have to do is not only hold them accountable, but try and help them. Like they need to accomplish some things. Like this is the time. I've been talking about this as long as I've been on the internet. The time is now to do single payer healthcare, to get it started. That process takes time. Medicare for all, you can't just legislate it and then everybody has single payer healthcare. You're going to roll that out over the course of 10 to 15 years, and you need to get enough people in office who are pushing it and who can go on TV and push that message out there. Like this is one of those times. And if these progressives that are getting in, if they don't, they're talking a big game. If they come in talking a big game and they accomplish nothing, or if they don't push, then I think they're going to lose their standing. People will feel really, really betrayed if they don't get some progressive shit done.
Second, we need to fight harder for working families against Trump, of course, but also for the billionaires and bullies and rigged system that empower him. And
that too. It can't just be anti-Trump. It has to be who is hurting you. Trump is a bad president. He's a bad person. He has bad ideas. He's entirely corrupt. But like our problems, each of us watching today, like most of our problems that we have in our lives are not caused by Trump. They're caused by wealth inequality and greed and imbalanced power dynamics. That's most of our actual problems. And it would help if Trump was gone. And it really fucking sucks to be citizens of a country where our president is this stupid and this corrupt, and a bunch of people don't want to do anything about it. But again, with Brad Lander, and this is what Mom Donnie did so well too. It wasn't just like an anti-Trump campaign. That doesn't necessarily work. Because you have to get into the details, right? Like if you can sit down one-on-one with somebody and you can talk about the corruption of Trump, I do think that you can get that message across and you can get people to understand the corruption. You can't do that in 30-second sound bites. You can't do that when somebody's just like flying through Twitter or flying through Instagram or, watching YouTube or watching CNN. That's really difficult with the attention span that we have. So what can you say that gets people's attention? You can talk about the wealth disparity between the billionaires and yourself, and how billionaires are able to buy and influence legislation that benefits them. Those are winning topics. Being anti-aid to Israel, single-payer healthcare, and reversing the wealth inequality problem that we have in this country. Those are just winning topics across the spectrum. You're going to wind up with the same people who were like Bernie bros that then went to Trump. Those people will swing back. Because it's an anti-establishment message. And then, again, after the messaging, you got to get some shit done.
We can't be a party that compromises on some people's humanity. Democratic voters are saying loud and clear they don't want to pay for any more of Netanyahu's wars, and they need that change in the party.
Leanne says, happy Wednesday. Today is a great day for the DSA. Happy Wednesday to you also, Leanne. Always good to see you. All right. Then you had Micah Lasher, who this was an interesting race. I can't remember. Michael Lasher was up against I'm trying to remember the name. They'll show here.
As we were just speaking, we've got some breaking news coming in to CNN.
It's Alex.
Let's
right?
go over to New York 12. Let's go over to New York 12 because that's where CNN is now projecting that Micah Lasher will now win that pretty crowded Democratic primary. He defeats Alex Boras, who was just trailing him in
I went and I looked through both of their platforms. Very similar platforms. Alex Boras was more moderate. The biggest difference I saw between their platforms is that Micah Lasher advocates for single-payer healthcare. Alex Boras does not. That seemed to be the biggest difference. Axel, serious question. How do we reverse wealth disparity? You have to change the tax code. You have to, and this is going to take some time. First, you have to create awareness, which I think people are becoming aware of that. And then you have to present options that make sense. You have to return, you just legitimately have to return back to like a 1950s, 1960s style progressive tax system, where once you get to a certain level of income, you are taxed at 90%. We have to get back there. We have to be able to tax unrealized gains. Because like if you look at for example, what Elon has done, Elon would not be a trillionaire if you could tax unrealized gains, because he wouldn't be able to take his unrealized gains, use them as collateral, and then get loans to acquire more wealth. You have to tax unrealized gains. And I understand you laugh at that. I love that 90% tax. Like I've shown this chart a million times, and I'll show it every single fucking day, because this is why you guys will lose this. If you're laughing at 90% tax, you're gonna lose. This will be reversed at some point. I don't know when, but it's unsustainable, and so you're going to lose at some point because data exists. And let me find this real quick. I've used this like a billion times on Twitter recently, so I know it's in here. This. Here on the left, you have the federal debt as a percentage of GDP. Okay? This is what happens to debt when you tax the richest at between 70 and 90%. See this line right here? This is after the Great Depression. There was a whole bunch of spending and debt to get out of the Great Depression. And then we had the top marginal tax rates at between 70 and 90%. And look what happened to debt. Do you see this precipitous fall? Little uptick there because of the economic problems we had in the late 70s. And then you have right here. I think everybody could agree this is the turning point. This is 1982. This is trickle-down economics. And suddenly, that top marginal tax rate of 70% becomes like 30%. And this is what happens to debt. And then what happened right here? We cut a whole bunch of spending, and we had a massive boom of income. Like a bunch of people made money, so our receipts went up, and then it leveled out, and it went, and now we're on this trajectory. And we're on like this trajectory right here, Great Depression trajectory, and this trajectory. Those are looking pretty fucking similar. And this is up to like 2020, right? So now we know that this is absolutely skyrocketed. This is, and the reason for this, just simply, it's not because the rich people paid more taxes, and then we were able to pay down the debt. That's part of it. Most of them didn't pay between 70 and 90%. Most wealthy people didn't even get into that tax bracket because they lost so much money in paying taxes that what they did instead is they started distributing that money more equally amongst the people that worked for them. And so what you saw in the 50s and all the way up to the 80s and early 90s is you saw people with pensions. You saw people with retirement accounts. You saw people who were easily able to raise a family on a factory job with one income, because it forced the circulation of the money to be more equal. And that's what the government's role is, right? If the government is going to provide a currency, and that currency is there so that you don't have to trade an apple for a chicken breast, so that you can just use money and you can transact quickly. That's the government doing that, right? They provide that service. If they're going to provide that service to make it transactions quicker, more smooth, then they also need to regulate how that money is flowing. Because if you do what we're doing right now, where pretend for a second that we don't have the internet, that we don't have like online banking, that we don't have the stock market that is digital. Pretend for a second that the money that we have, like Elon Musk's $900 billion, pretend for a second that that's all actual physical money. It's not, but it has the same effect as physical money. You don't have to physically print money in order to devalue the dollar. But Elon Musk being a trillionaire hurts you. It's not good for you. It devalues your currency. Having people be this rich is not good for you. You need that to circulate. What would be better is if the people at space, and first of all, if we had a better tax system, Elon Musk would be worth maybe a few billion. Sure as shit wouldn't be trillions. But the people that worked for him, the people that helped build Twitter, the people who helped build Tesla, the people who helped build SpaceX, those people would have stock options, and those stock options would be their retirement. And it would be more equally distributed. And those people could access those stock options if they wanted to start their own company, or if they wanted to use that, if they wanted to sell some of that and use it as a down payment on a house. That's why you spread it out. And that's the role of the government. And it is a lazy, brain-dead take to simply argue taxation is theft. The government spends too much money. It's a lazy take, and anybody making that argument is legitimately on first base, and we've left. Okay, we're on third base. Come catch up with us. You're just sitting on first base. And that's what like the proponents of trickle-down economics, Reagan economics, have been doing since 1982. You have just been standing in place, and you're like, it's gonna work, and then it's just not fucking working. It just doesn't fucking work. And you're like, wait for it, it's coming, it's gonna happen, and it just never shows up. See, Robert, you're exactly what I'm talking about. Your idea sucks ass. No, my idea works. Here's my idea. See this? See the debt right here going down? That's my idea. Your idea is this side, this half, debt going up. If you look at wealth inequality by year, let's just, like, I'm using the tax policy from them. Excuse me, from the 1950s to 1982. You're using the tax policy since then. Let's look which one has better outcomes. That's debt. Obviously, yours is pretty fucking shitty for debt. Go to this one. Here's wealth inequality. You'll see this is the top 1% right here is the blue line. The next 9% is the orange line. And the bottom 90%, which is basically everybody here, so we're all this line. Imagine being, was it Robert? Was that who said that? Imagine being Robert right now and arguing that this purple line, which is him, is good. And that this blue line and this orange line is simply because they're the only ones working hard. Not Robert. Robert's a bitch like the rest of us that are here. We're all just a bunch of bitches that don't work hard enough. And here we are watching our increase of our share of wealth just get absolutely decimated. And these lines have changed. Like if we can get an updated one, let me go back. I'll find an updated one up through, I think we have one through 2024. Let me look real quick. It's even worse. It's separated by, okay. Here's household net worth by wealth percentile group. And this goes through 2023. So Robert here is looking at this top 0.1%. Look at this gap. This is since 1989, the change in household net worth. It's gone up 1,000% by the top 0.1%. Then the 1%, it's gone up by 744%. This is just total. So you can throw that out, doesn't matter. Then the next 10%, so the top 10%, again, this is none of us here. None of us are in that top 10%. They've gone up by 593%. Finally, you get to like the average American. Their net worth has gone up, or I guess the 0.1% has gone up double. Double what our net worth is going. And now this net worth line for blue kind of makes sense, right? And what you're seeing here in these upticks from 2020 till now, this is called inflation. The reason that you see these drastic changes here, this is inflation. Your stupid ideas make everyone equally poor, except for they didn't though, right? Because if you look at wealth inequality before, it doesn't make everybody equally poor. Yeah, this one goes through 2015. And this is why, again, you're going to lose the argument every fucking time by data, but your feelings are very big. This is what it looked, this is wealth inequality before, under the tax policy that I'm looking at. Here's the top 1%. See, wait, what is it? Actually, let's see. What's this actually? Percentage of total household income, household wealth. Okay, so here's the top 1%. Look what happens when you did your policy. See how it was just cruising along down here? 0.1% of the people didn't own anywhere near the majority of the wealth. Not anywhere close. Here's your policy kicking in 82. Straight up. Straight fucking up. Who does trickle-down economics benefit the most? The rich. Then you have the top 0.1% straight up. Top 0.5 to 0.1% straight up. This is what trickle-down economics does. It does the opposite of what you're saying. If you are unhappy with what you make, do something about it and stop whining. We're winning elections, you dumb motherfuckers. And you're going to fucking hate it. And we're going to change the laws too. And you're going to cry about it the whole time. And then when it makes your life better, you won't say anything because you won't even realize what happened. Arguing with the dumbest people. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, please. That'll fix it. There's no data that backs you up. Can you give me some data that would back you up? That says this is a good deal for you? Why are you so hellbent on arguing like the worst possible outcomes for yourself? I'm a Republican? Yeah, no shit. We know. Let me see if there's any other ones here that show. What's this year from? All right, yeah. That's income growth. No, that's just total. Oh, this is global. That's why. Okay, here's one, just one more. This goes through 2022. This is the percentage share of wealth held by each wealth decile from 2022. Does that look unequal to you? This is what we need. They deserve it. They just work harder than you. So all these billionaires just work way harder than you? Is that what it is? So your idea is having to sell your assets to pay the taxes. No, dummy. No, that's not my argument. See, but rather than engage with this and rather than learn what we're talking, let me ask you this question, Robert. What is a progressive tax? Let's see what you understand. Because we're talking about a progressive tax policy. What is a progressive tax policy, Robert? That's Robert Stewart. Yeah, like Jeff Bezos doesn't do shit. He makes more money than all of you ever, than everybody here combined for our lifetime total. He makes more than that in a day, and he literally doesn't work. Until now, no one ever thought the bootstraps thing was literal. No, nobody thought that, Corn Pop. And I've watched you learn that was. We all watched you learn that wasn't real. Shut up. I learned something new a year ago, and now I pretend that I knew it all along. Progressive taxes, by the way, the 70-90% top marginal tax rate is going to be at after a certain level. So let's say it's $100 million. At $100 million, every dollar you make over $100 million is taxed at 90%. Why would that be a problem? Hunter, I noticed that when I asked you for what progressive taxation was, you just insulted me instead. When you make more, you have to pay more. That's correct, right, Robert? And why should you have to pay more when you make more? Because when you're making more money at that level, you're making it off of the backs of other people's labor. Your output, your productivity goes way down. The more you make, the less productive you actually are, the less you're actually contributing to that final product. But somehow in this country, we got convinced by Ronald Reagan that actually the more your wealth goes up, the less you should be taxed. And that's where we're at now. We have a regressive tax policy. The more you make, the less you pay in taxes as a percentage. That is stupid this is math. And I do feel like you guys need to understand that your entire economic argument is 2 + 2 = 156. It's just not math. It's a hope and a dream. It doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work to cut taxes for rich people and have that trickle down. It doesn't fucking work. We have 50+ years of data on it. It doesn't fucking work. I guess 40+ years of data on it. And why are you still showing up? Like, you're like, don't disrespect, but you're the Cleveland Browns fans every year, like, this is our year. This is the year trickle-down economics will finally turn a corner and all of the money won't flow up. And now you've just given up. Like, now you don't even think that it'll be fixed. You're just like, we've decided not to blame trickle-down economics. We just blame the government instead. And you say dumb shit like, it's because we got off of the gold standard. But really, it's because we left a progressive tax system. Neely said, MAGA, how did families thrive on a single income in the 50s and 60s? How do they own homes on a single factory worker income? Magic? Good question. It's a great fucking question. Why is it that your grandparents had such an easier time than you did? Why did they all have retirement accounts? Why did they have pensions? Why don't you have a pension? Because we gave the rich people all the money, and they were like, hey, also, could you come to Washington and write all the laws for us? Trickle down was called horse and sparrow in the 1920s. Well done. Coolest Bean said, you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you can't afford the boots, and also you can't do it anyways. Hubert Cumberdale said the tax policy needs to be updated. As barely anyone actually paid 90. Make capital gains much higher. They don't get regular income. Agreed on that. That's why progressives are doing well, though. You can say whatever you want, and you can try, but I hope that you guys keep making these arguments. I hope that the people you vote for keep making these arguments, because they're legitimately like, math isn't real. Feelings are more important than math. That's essentially like what the conservative economic argument is now. Don't do the math on it. Just believe. Yeah. Let's here. Nope. Okay. Get over it. No, we're not going to get over it. We're going to fix it. You get over it. Get over it. It's a bad system. Just take it. This is why we call you guys cucks, by the way. When you don't have an argument, you go, stop whining. Just take it in the ass. It's fine. Even if you didn't want it, just take it. That's the way that this works. This is why at the start of this, we're like, you guys aren't allowed to use cuck. I knew that this would happen. I knew that we would have this discussion today, and I knew that you would all act like cucks, and so I'm glad we prefaced it that way. But stop it. Change. Not that hard to change. What was that? Illusion said, corn pop, more like corn fart. Derp, 2 + 2 is 8. Literally yesterday. Was it yesterday? We literally had James Comer say, or was it Comer? Let me find it. A Republican yesterday, I think it was Comer, said no, it wasn't. Said we need to 2 + 2 = 8. We need to convince the Republicans that 2 + 2 is 8. Where is this? Here it is. Roger Marshall on CNBC. No pushback from, by the way. It's been exposed, right, that Kernan doesn't know a goddamn thing. I don't know how he has this job. This was an actual thing a Republican said.
I don't know where Jay Clayton, I don't know where that nomination is at this point. How does this play out with
Terrence Howard, Matt?
The 250th coming up soon and everything else?
So 53 Republican senators, you're going to find 53 opinions. We're very strong-willed, typically top of our class type of folks. So we've got opinions, and the hope is the debate within us, we take 2 + 2 and turn it into 8. I do think we have the votes.
That's your whole fucking strategy. And 100 some, like, there you go, you want free stuff because someone else makes more money. No. I want the government to pay its bills. I want the government to not be in debt. And everybody should be under the same rules. Like, you shouldn't get to, like, Elon Musk shouldn't get to pay no taxes. That's crazy. Cuck. You are a cuck. Hunters for conservation. I appreciate that. I hope when you go out with your hunting buddies, you are this cucky to them as well, because I know it gets lonely out there. And I hope that you're cooking up over the campfire each night in a apron and nothing else, and then I hope they run a train on you after because they miss their wife. Like, keep your personality across all aspects of your life, please. Don't just be a cuck when it comes to billionaires. Just one more time, though. This is the strategy.
53 opinions. We're very strong-willed, typically top of our class type of folks. So we've got opinions, and the hope is the debate within us, we take 2 + 2 and turn it into 8. I do think we have the votes for.
I like that. I like that. Today's generation want everything handed to them and don't know what hard work is. Shut the fuck up. Nobody had shit handed to them more than the fucking boomers. The boomers could have any job, and they had to show up 9 to 5, and they got a pension, and then they got a house that they paid like 4 banana peels for, and it's worth $5 million now, and they cash out and they retire, and they really didn't work that hard, and they didn't do much for our country either. That same boomers, like, you had the greatest generation before that, you had all this ingenuity, and the boomers didn't do anything but rig our stock market, bury us in debt, and create an economic system that is a catastrophic failure and it can't be undone, because instead of making a smart economic model, they build a shitty one and then spend all their money propagandizing Americans to be afraid of the government. It was literally Ronald Reagan, like, oh, the worst things you can hear is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. No, it's not the worst thing you can hear. That's exactly what I want to hear when somebody breaks into my house. Hi, I'm a government-funded employee, and I'm here to investigate. Great, thank you. That's what you're supposed to do. They fucked everything. And I'm not saying every boomer was involved in that, but that's what the boomer generation did. They have the audacity to tell people they didn't work hard. Shut the fuck up. You guys are the boomer generation is the laziest, most spoon-fed, titty baby generation ever. Their parents worked hard. Their grandparents worked hard. They left them a system that made sense so that they could have pensions and they could have retirement, and they benefited from that. They got generational wealth handed down to them. They were handed an economy where you could easily buy a house on one income, and then they're like, you know what? We need to keep all of our money. We don't want to pay taxes on any of our money. And exactly what everybody who was opposed to trickle-down economics said at the time happened. That everything got more expensive. Wealth inequality skyrocketed. And the boomers like, that's okay. I'm going to die before this affects me. Hopefully it does. And now they sit there like after not doing a goddamn thing to leave the country a better place than they inherited. And they're like, it's not our fault. It's yours. You're just lazy. We have record low unemployment. Well, we did when Trump took over. Record low unemployment. More people in America, by percentage, are working than at any other time in history. We have, and Amy's probably here, 70% of people who get SNAP benefits are working full time. This generation, the people working now, work far harder than the boomers. They work multiple jobs. I told a sad story the other day of this somebody that came to deliver a pizza, and she was really upset at her husband because they both work full-time jobs, but in order to make things work, they also have to do gig work, and her husband stayed at home and wouldn't go deliver pizza, and so she had to do it, and she was mad. And my thought was, that fucking sucks that you both have to work full-time and do a gig job just to make ends meet, because I live in Mesa. It's not the most expensive place to live, but Arizona is not a cheap place to live. And, even if you're making minimum wage, I don't know what they do for work. They can't afford to live. They have to work multiple jobs. None of these boomers, like almost all boomers, had one person working. And their parents had one person in the house working, mostly. Like there were exceptions. Poor people still had to work multiple jobs, but the middle class, almost exclusively, one income and a retirement and paid vacation and health insurance. Everything was taken care of for them. They didn't thank the generations before them. They just took a big steamy shit on what they were handed, and then they're like, how come you guys aren't grateful for this steaming pile of shit and $38 trillion in debt that we left you? How come you don't like this system we built where all of the money funnels straight up, and then we allowed them to write all of the laws, and then we voted for people who put in a Supreme Court who decided that corporations have rights too, and they should be able to spend as much money as they want influencing politics. And then they're like, it's none of these are our fault. It's you guys. You're not working hard enough. Everybody working now works harder than that generation. So if that's who you were when you said like people don't work this day, respectfully, disrespectfully, whatever, I don't like, fuck you. You are like, that is some bitch shit to look at the people that you fucked over and be like, it's actually your fault. That's the other problem I have with the boomer generation. Can you have some accountability? What'd you do? You tell us what you did for this country. As a whole, what did the boomer generation do for this country? Endless wars in the Middle East? Thanks. Destroyed health insurance? Thanks. Attacked collective bargaining and unions? Thanks. Destroyed public education? Thanks. Made continuing education entirely unaffordable for most people? Thanks. Even those that do go to school, like they're buried in debt for student loans? Thanks. Thanks, boomers. Appreciate it. The two biggest drivers to our deficit where we're at now, the Bush tax cuts and the Trump tax cuts. Overwhelmingly, boomers vote for Republicans. Thanks. Appreciate it. Did great shit. Where'd our manufacturing go? It's gone. I grew up in a small town in Utah County. The biggest employer in my county, or the biggest, there were two. You had a university and you had a steel mill. And what did they do to that university? They've made it it's a place Charlie Kirk got shot, by the way. They've made it kind of unaffordable. Even for a state college, you have to take out loans to go there. What's up with the steel mill? It's gone. It's all housing now. Where did the steel mill go? Overseas. Where'd all those people with pensions? Dried up. Thanks, boomers. Appreciate it. You guys don't get an opinion on economics if you're going to keep advocating for trickle-down economics. I have a lot of boomers in my life I love. I can't wait until you guys aren't involved in politics anymore, whatever that means. Whether you check out entirely or like your time on this earth is over, you have done an astronomically bad job at managing our country. You have fucked everything, and we don't appreciate it. So respectfully, shut up for a while. Roly Poly said, boomers are also a primary reason housing costs are high. They oppose zoning that would allow for more housing. Agreed. They allowed, I've said this before. My dad was a general contractor and he built custom homes, and he just had to shut down his business because he didn't want to grow and expand, and he could no longer buy plots of land because it just bought up by these massive private equity groups. Amy said, companies used to get tax breaks for investing in their employees. I lived through Reagan screwing us. Thank you, Amy. And again, not all the boomers are bad. Some of you boomers I love. I'm just saying, like, just as a whole, the boomer generation didn't do a good job. You just said, I make $21 an hour and I'm single. Based off that, I can't even afford to have a 401k. That's so awesome. Thanks, Ronald Reagan. Thanks, trickle-down economics. Thanks for fucking us over. So when, like, you guys that are in here defending this, it's pathetic. I'm a sad excuse for a Medican. Thank you, Daryl. You can't spell. We know who you voted for. All right, moving on. Let's get off of that. We're not gonna make it through the outline today. I just want to do this then. I want to look at where it looks like the midterms stand now. This is why I was a little late today. I want to first start with the Senate. This is how it looks with current polling. Democrats retaking the Senate 52-46 with 2 toss-ups. I think the only 2 real toss-ups, according to current polling, so any of this stuff could change, are Montana and Texas. And if you look, I can show you some surprising polling out of, wait, that's not the one I wanted. Wait, this is it. And then I go to, yeah. Look at Texas. Paxton up 1. Tallarico up 3. Paxton up 2. Tallarico up 3. Tie. Tallarico. Small lead for Paxton. This is very much in play. And then if you look at Montana, there's like another way I was able to do this. Oh, it was this. That's right. We look at Montana, 50-50. Now, historically speaking, if both of these are toss-ups, the toss-ups are going to go not to the incumbents because it's the midterms. It's not a presidential election. So if this goes the way that it has historically speaking, the Senate looks like that, 54-46. Why does anyone still believe polling data? Because it's usually pretty accurate. That's why. It's just, unless you're a Republican, then you've just been spoon-fed a lie that it's not accurate. And then if we go and we look at the, I had the House over here. Yeah, close this, pull out the House. The House is even worse. It's looking like an absolute blowout. 223 to 210 is the way I had it with polls. Now, interestingly enough, like this is the currently it's 212, 219. Republicans have a slim lead. This was the consensus before, and you can see over here before undecided races or toss-ups races. Kalshi has it at 225, and I have it pretty close. Not quite as bad as Kalshi, but I have it at 223 to 210, and it's only based on polling. None of this is based on my own opinion. It's just what current polls look like. That's what you got, and this is what doubling down will get you. So I encourage you to do one of two things: vote for other people, not Republicans, or keep talking how you're talking. Either way is a benefit for us. Leanne said boomers smoked all the cigs, ran up medical costs, and retired. Sonny said in Japan, homes get cheaper as they get older. Yeah, as they should, right? They require more upkeep. Not here. We can't do it. We can't do it that way here. All right. This is what the title was from today. Trump cancels plan to sign a major housing bill as he fights with Congress over the SAVE Act. Now, this housing bill is it's decent. I watched an interview this morning with the mayor of San Diego, who's a Democrat, was pretty happy about this. It is a bipartisan piece of legislation. There's a lot of stuff I would do differently. I think there's a lot of stuff Republicans would do differently as well, but it passed. Now Trump is saying, I'm not going to sign this. It passed through the House and the Senate, and Trump is going to use his veto power for something popular, because this is the country we live in now. The American people mostly agree on this. And Trump says, we can't have this good thing because you won't give me the SAVE Act, which is unpopular. He says he's not going to sign it until Congress passes the Save America Act, which is going to require the filibuster. It's not going to happen. I would imagine he eventually signs this. He's going to have to cave. I think this is posturing. Today's housing news conference and signing is hereby canceled, he said, until such time as we pass the desperately needed Save America Act, which I consider to be a national emergency. Fine, let it sit for 10 days. It will become law. Don't tell him. Yeah, maybe nobody told him. How is the SAVE Act a national emergency? Republicans here. What about the SAVE Act would fix our elections? How would that make our elections more safe? Christie says Trump is refusing to sign. Oh, you were right ahead of me. Refusing to sign the housing bill right now. Correct. Yeah, they can override it. Trump's only negotiation strategy is extortion. Yeah, that's all he knows. Oh, no, May. May, I asked you a specific question. May, you have to answer my question or I'm banning you so early today. Can you tell me one specific thing in the SAVE Act and give me a specific and how it would protect our elections? And this is your only chance today. You don't get to just come in and generically insult me every day. May. Or Mark, you can do it. I think Mark's a little behind, though. How are you going to show that trickle down doesn't work if you don't show how much better it was before? I did show how much better it was before. I showed wealth inequality. I showed debt spending. What do you want to see? Yeah, it auto gets approved after 10 days if he does nothing, right? But if he vetoes it, then it goes through the process. If he chooses not to sign it, it automatically gets approved, which is probably what he'll do. But if he vetoes it, then it has to be overridden. My great-grandfather died in the mines when he got crushed by a slab of slate. I'm sorry to hear that. Did we get an answer from May? Did May pick something yet? You might be one and done today, May. Casey, I know you're here. I'm gonna leave May right now. If May doesn't, just go ahead and 24 hours. We're gonna get May to start. Let's see. I don't want to show my ID to anyone anymore. And then follows up with, you guys are ridiculous. Jesus Christ. What is wrong with you, May? What is that? Did you say something else? That had to have been your answer, right? Was there another answer that I missed? Did she give a different answer? She's saying like I didn't read it. But that was the answer, wasn't it? She just doesn't want to show her ID? Is that it? I don't know, May. That made me happy though. Thank you. Welcome, Hope. Thanks for subscribing. Just a reminder, if you guys are watching this right now, even if you hate me and you like being here to talk shit, subscribing is free. You can subscribe over or follow us on TikTok and Twitch. Subscribe over on YouTube, and we have a members only event tonight where we're going to be watching a movie. It's looking like that movie is going to be the campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You just need to be a paid member on either YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok, and then message JenDub1, JENNDUBB1 on Discord, and she'll get you in there, and you can watch that with us later this evening. Somebody asked, do I add commentary during the movie? No, except for in the chat. Like, we talk in the chat. So kind of, but I don't interrupt the movie. Okay, this is actually crazy. I don't know where it's at now. Let me look. This is a story about Wendy's, Wendy's stock price, and this is a story for two reasons. One, it shows like how pathetic our stock market is and how easily manipulated it is, and two, I like anytime people are fighting back against these greedy Wall Street folks. So. There were a bunch of people shorting, a bunch of these hedge funds shorting Wendy's stock price because Wendy's is collapsing. I don't really know what happened. I actually just noticed the other day that the Wendy's near my house is gone. I didn't even know. I haven't been to Wendy's in a long time, but it's gone. And so these highly shorted shares jumped more than a 7-month high on Wednesday as retail traders, that's us, flocked to the beaten down stock of the fast food chain in the latest meme-like rally. If you remember, they did this with GameStop. They also did this recently with, I don't think it was Ace Hardware. I can't remember who it was. There was another company they did this with. The stock price went up 28.5%, hit $9 when trading restarted after multiple halts due to volatility. Interestingly enough, when the American people stand up to the people rigging our economy, they'll halt trading on it. Oh, it's too volatile. The shares rose as much as 41.9% to briefly hit their highest level since November of 2025. The ticker was the #1 trending stock on retail investor forum StockWits. It also had the second highest mentions over the last 24 hours in the Reddit forum Wall Street Bets. In the first half hour of trading on Wednesday, retail investors bought net $2.3 million worth of Wendy's stock, building on purchases of $2.2 million earlier in the week. As of last close, the shares have fallen more than 78% from their June 2021 record highs, including a 24.9% drop this year. This is just simply cool that people are fighting back because when they raise this stock price, there are people who have shorted this stock. And what that means is that there are institutional investors who said, I see the stock at 8. I think the stock's going to go to $6. I'm going to put in an insurance contract on that stock. And so I'm basically going to get an option when the stock goes to $6. I'm agreeing to buy it at $6. But every day it doesn't go to $6, they're paying a little bit of interest on that. They're paying a little bit of a fee until it gets to $6. So as it starts falling and you have all these people who have shorted it who are about to make a killing, retail investors are like, not so fast. And so they're buying the stock, pushing the price up, and that means these hedge funds are losing money. And they freak out every time this happens, and they lobby members of Congress, and they go to the stock exchange, and they're like, you have to halt trading. This is not fair. It's being manipulated, which is really just them admitting, like, you can manipulate stocks, and we do it all the time, but we don't like it when other people do it, only when insiders do it. So if you want to jump in on this, I don't tell people what to invest in. I can just tell you that you can be part of this battle if you wanted to. This is what it looks like, and this is what happens when the people say "fuck you" to the rich. So this price means, there's some people that have made some money here, but this price also means a bunch of wealthy people are losing money, which we like. So shout out to that story. That's a cool story. All right. Here's the part where we may lose TikTok. TikTok, I appreciate you guys being here. Johnny D, La Lee, Boofany, Rhino Chumpers, and I'm Just a Bill. Thank you for being the top 5 viewers today. And thank you guys for helping us with the gifts on TikTok. I do think that your renewed interest in sending gifts on TikTok has helped us stay alive. So thank you guys very much for that. And as a reminder, we're crowdfunded. So if you want to help us accomplish our gift goals, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App are the way to go. Super Chats also work. They just take a little bigger percentage of the money. So those links are above me on vertical and above me into, I guess, my left, your right on if you're watching over on Twitch. Let's talk about Israel, though, because Israel is not taking this memorandum of understanding very well. Now we say Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz vowed Wednesday the army forces will not leave territory occupied in southern Lebanon, even if the United States demands withdrawal. Israel will not leave its security zone in Lebanon, even if the United States demands withdrawal, Katz said during an event in Tel Aviv. There was no immediate response from Washington. I don't know what Trump does here. This is going to be really interesting. Part of these negotiations is that Iran believes the United States acting in good faith and with their power will be able to quell the aggression of Israel. Israel is saying no. We still like Israel over there, Republicans. Are there any of you left that like this? They dragged us into this war for no fucking reason. And now that we're trying to end it, your president, your Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, is trying to end this. And it seems like Israel's going to be the one who keeps it going. You guys still fans of Israel? This is why democratic socialists are doing well. Not only are they anti-Israel, they're not opportunistically anti-Israel. The democratic socialists and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party have been vocally anti-Israel since the Biden administration. That's why they're popular, because if you switch now, if you're Dan Goldman, for example, who got blown the fuck out by Brad Lander yesterday, you can't really switch now because we know your votes. We know what you said. Israel has to be able to protect itself by invading Lebanon. It's very important that Israel protect itself by doing a genocide in Gaza. It's very important that Israel protect itself by proactively bombing Iran. You don't get to be that person for years and then flip a switch. That's why democratic socialists and progressives are doing well, because everything they've said is coming to fruition. The wealth inequality that they've been talking about, it's coming to fruition. The effects of inflation, coming to fruition. The discussion that we had about tariffs and how fucking dumb Donald Trump's tariff strategy was, turned out they were right. They've been right on virtually everything, and it's hard to argue anymore. That's why they're doing well. And on top of that, they have a plan forward. This isn't left or right. It is a little bit. But there are people on the right who are changing. I think 41% now of people on the right are anti-funding Israel. I guess you're right. Yeah, it's probably not left or right. It's a middle issue, right? The middle is pro-Israel. You're probably right about that. Comments, senior Israeli officials continue to insist on maintaining control over occupied areas of southern Lebanon, despite a recent U.S.-Iran understanding, which includes commitments related to respecting Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Earlier this week, Netanyahu, Katz, and Israeli Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir pledged to maintain control of what Israel describes as a security zone. You can't just make up a fucking security zone in another country. So does this mean we have a 3-party system now? I would love to see a 4-party system. I would love that. I think if the democratic socialists can knock off a big enough percentage, I would start being like telling the Nazis and the crypto bros, you guys should probably start your own party too. Let's get it to 4 parties. The Nazis can do their own thing. They won't ever win anything except for like Alabama and Idaho. Maybe you might do really well in Idaho. All right, so that's cool. Israel's just going to stand in the way of peace, as always. That comes on top of this, and this just isn't going to go well. Now, I chose CNN here. There were a lot of places I could have chosen. I chose this just because they had the least amount of ads, but you can get this from anyone else. This isn't a CNN investigation. Israeli forces continue to commit genocide against Palestinians by deliberately targeting children in the Gaza Strip, according to an independent United Nations Commission of Inquiry. The report published Tuesday, which last year concluded Israel had committed a genocide in Gaza, found that the Israeli military operations have continued causing unprecedented death, injury, and trauma to Palestinian children. The commission describes what it says as the deliberate targeting of children as a key indicator of Israeli authorities' genocidal intent to destroy the Palestinian people, including after a ceasefire in Gaza took effect. I think more than 1,000 Palestinians have been murdered since the ceasefire. That thing that Donald Trump bragged about, like, I got the ceasefire. He didn't get the ceasefire. Thank you, Norma, and thank you for the red heart and for the support over on Venmo. Appreciate you. Even after the October 2025 ceasefire, children continue to be killed and seriously injured, with continued disregard by Israel for the ceasefire and for the protection owed to Palestinian children under international law, said Srinivasan Muralidhar. Sorry. I don't know if any of you know that person, but my bad. The Israeli government has repeatedly denied committing genocide, and officials swiftly decried Tuesday's UN findings. Can we just thumbs up if you think Israel's committing a genocide? Thumbs down if not. I just broadly want to see if there's people still that think This isn't a genocide. Jackie said, hi, bestie. Hi, Jackie. It's good to see you. Well, specifically, like, who are there some thumbs downers? I haven't seen a single thumbs down. Who isn't? Who isn't committing a genocide? Most people, most countries. What do you mean? Is that are you lumberjack like TikTok lumberjack, that guy who like dodged debates for me for a year for no reason? He's not good faith. Is that you? I don't see a single thumbs down. I know we've got conservatives here. I know at least I've seen a couple of conservative accounts saying thumbs up. Someone typed thumbs down? Okay, I didn't see that one. Steve typed things. Okay, so Steven. So it's just Steven in here? Oh, you typed thumbs down. Why not, Steven? Why is it not a genocide? I'll read this. I'll look for your answer. But why would you say it's not a genocide? Now we disagree with virtually everybody who studies this. And now you have an independent commission from the UN also saying it's a genocide. Do they just have to kill everybody for it to be a genocide? Or are you going to do the they didn't kill everybody yet argument? In a hypothetical scenario, if Canada launched the same number into the U.S. since October 2023, it would be equivalent to a massive sustained cross-border. Yeah, okay, but that's not. We're asking about a genocide right now. The Foreign Ministry called it a let's see. The Israeli government repeatedly denied committing the genocide. They swiftly decried the UN's finding. The Foreign Ministry called it a propaganda piece, as outrageous as its previous ones. Yeah, okay. Nobody believes that. It's political blood libel disguised as a UN document. Blood libel. We did the person. What are we talking about? Was it Jewish people that did it? Is it blood libel? Yeah, imagine being on the same side as Ben Gvir. I think Ben Gvir just, he's sensible. Funny how you have a terrorist organization in your country and you get destroyed. What? Stephen, I'm asking about the genocide, bud. We're asking about the genocide in Gaza. Hezbollah has launched over 10,000 to 19,000 rockets, mortars, and drones from Lebanon into Israel. How many rockets has Israel launched? What's the death toll? How many deaths is Hezbollah responsible to versus Israel? Why is America even helping Israel, and why is every president kissing? Lumberjack. We're not going to do like anti-Semitism here, right? Just when you say like, why is every president kissing the Jew wall? If we give you the benefit of the doubt, you chose your words poorly, but I want to be clear here. This isn't an anti-Semitic thing. This is a Israel thing. I don't know why. I'm with you though. I don't know why Christians think that there's such a thing as Judeo-Christian values. Of all the religions, Judaism is the most dismissive of Christianity for sure. The outcomes are opposite. They believe that the Savior, like the very person that you believe in is the Son of God in Jesus, was a false prophet. So I don't understand shared Judeo-Christian values. I don't understand the Christians that go over there and say they have like this holy experience. None of it makes any fucking sense to me. Stephen, you got to answer my question before I answer any of yours. I just wanted to know who has killed more people. Let me ask you, how many civilians do you hide behind, which grants immunity to commit attacks on Israel? No. If somebody who is guilty is using a human shield, I don't shoot them. I don't kill an innocent person because there is a guilty person. That's the difference between us. And this is the difference between and this is probably why you deny that it's a genocide. Because it doesn't matter. If you killed every single Palestinian, you would just keep making these same dumb fucking excuses. That's a crazy excuse. Let me ask you this, Stephen. If somebody, let's say you have a kid and an adult beat the shit out of your kid, and you went to track them down, you were going to get back at them. Let's say they killed your kid. and you tracked them down. You finally found them, and you found them, and they were holding your mother in front of them. Would you kill your mother to get revenge? I wouldn't. And that I feel is the difference between Israel and normal people. Non-genocidal and genocidal people. There's no respect for human life, for innocent human life. I don't believe innocent people should die to get revenge on a guilty person. And that's the difference. And I think most of the world agrees with that. Israel does not. That's the main difference. Depends on the mother. I agree. If we don't stop the killers, they will keep doing it. That's why we want to stop Israel. That's why we're all anti-Israel right now. They're the killers. They're the ones that won't stop. There's a ceasefire. They just keep doing it. Yeah, Israel is the bad guy. Israel is, like, honestly, give me what argument could you possibly make that Hezbollah or Hamas is more evil than the IDF? What argument could you possibly make? The IDF is far worse than Hezbollah and Hamas. And that's crazy because on October 7th of 2023, literally 98% of the world would have said Hamas is far more evil than Israel. Whether they're right or wrong, and I think, like, in hindsight, I could argue, like, I just didn't really understand this issue well enough. I gotta fix this graininess on my chair here. I mean, at this point, it's just Israel saying, like, we are more important. We have a birthright here, so we just get to murder with impunity. That's where we're at now. Like, just a bunch of ethno-supremacists running the Israeli government, a bunch of Zionists influencing American politics. There is nothing you can. There is no data that I've seen that would ever convince me that Israel is not the bad guy. Now, they might all be bad, but Israel's the worst. There's no good guy in this scenario, for the record. Hamas is not the good guy. Hezbollah is not the good guy. The United States is not the good guy. Israel certainly isn't the good guy. But there's certainly one that is far worse and more evil than the others, and that is the Israeli government and military. And it's not even close. Yeah, Prop Op said Israel's done 100 October 7ths. What argument would you make, Stephen? I don't think that's the Stephen from Jubilee. I don't think so. I think that person, Stephen, does not engage with me anymore after he and I had that debate. I've tried to engage with him on Twitter, and he doesn't even respond to me anymore. Did you have? You think the U.S. is the bad guy? Yes. Yes. Yeah. We invade for no reason all the time. We've murdered thousands upon thousands upon thousands of innocent people all over the Middle East. Yeah. You know what it's interesting. A lot of us, outside of diehard Trumpers, most people have no problem condemning Russia for invading Ukraine. How many times have we done a Ukraine-type invasion in the last 30 years? We do it all the fucking time. They're being attacked by rockets daily. That's not okay. Yeah, I agree. The people are being attacked by Israel daily. Well, and there you go. You should leave the country. You should leave the country. We're going to fix the country. That's the point here. Like, we're winning this We're winning the battle of ideas right now. If you would have told any Republican October 6th, October 7th, let's say October 8th, 2023, if you told any American that in June of 2026, the majority of Americans believed that Israel committed a genocide and we should no longer fund them, like, you would not have believed that. You never would have believed that. But here we are, 41% of Republicans. It's like 70-ish% of Democrats now. Again, I don't think there's good guys here. But this is where we, like, the binary way that we view the world, specifically as Americans, is silly. Like, if you can't honestly look at the Americans' history in the Middle East, the amount of times that we have attacked people for literally no fucking reason. And just think of let's just talk about Iraq. Just that one invasion. The Saudis funded a radical terrorist group and got them to fly planes into the Twin Towers in New York. And because of that, we invaded Iraq and killed thousands of people in Iraq. Innocent people, not just the people fighting against us. But I would argue that even the people fighting against us were innocent. What did they do? We said we went to get weapons of mass destruction, which we never found. There didn't seem to be any weapons of mass destruction. And it was Netanyahu standing in front of our Congress being like, it's there. All of those people, all of the deaths in Iraq could have been avoided. All of them. Those people fighting in the Iraqi army, they fight like our soldiers do. They're told what to do and they go and they fight. Their soldiers are no more evil than our soldiers. It's just we don't like when they kill our soldiers. They don't like when we kill their soldiers. But there's no moral distinction between the two. However, who started the war? We did. Who invaded? We did. Did we invade based on something that was untrue? Absolutely. So when it comes to the Iraq war, we are the bad guys. And then why did we go to Afghanistan? Did we find Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan? Nope. Found him in Pakistan. Why didn't we invade Pakistan? It's clear now, looking back at the intelligence, it was Pakistan that was keeping him safe. It was Pakistan that was moving him around, at least people in Pakistan. I can't imagine that he was that close to a Pakistani Air Force base and the Pakistani Air Force didn't know that he was there. But we didn't invade Pakistan. Yeah, we're bad. We're bad. We should stop going to war all the time. All right, moving on. I appreciate you engaging, Stephen. I hate your opinion, but I appreciate you being here and engaging. And I think that we got to figure out a way to have these conversations more often because I think it's a little bit pathetic. All right, 11:17. We got about 2 hours left. I'll update the gift goal here in just a second. But I want to show you this. I know
today I talked to two journalists who
I know how much this audience hates prediction markets. And let me be clear, I also hate prediction markets. That being said, sometimes I think the prediction market numbers are useful to what I do because I think that they more accurately, a lot of times reflect the general public than when it comes to politics than polls. However, sometimes they don't, right? So it's like it's not perfect. I also want to say that I have predicted on these markets. I've used them. I've never used Polymarket, I don't think. I've used Kalshi. And I recognize that to some that might make me a hypocrite. It doesn't feel hypocritical to me, but I don't think they should exist. I don't think these markets should exist. I don't think you should be able to bet like this. But now they're being exposed as exactly what they are, a rigged casino flooded by insiders who are making an absolute fortune in the same way that Elon Musk is making a fortune. You make people think that everything's on the up and up. You let them invest. You tell them they have just as good a chance at winning as you do. And then with insider information, you control the whole thing and you make out like bandits. But there was some reporting, I think, from the Wall Street Journal, and CoffeeZilla broke it down better than anybody. So we're going to watch CoffeeZilla now. This is on his Voidzilla channel. If you don't know who CoffeeZilla is, he's probably the most prominent investigative journalist on YouTube. He's completely independent. He refuses to take outside money outside of literally his paid subscribers. I think he does incredible work. He's very thorough. He's never been political. He's been kind of like forced to be political because he used to uncover like crypto scams, and then our president became a crypto scammer. So he's been forced to kind of like criticize the Trump administration. And now going after Polymarket, where multiple Trump insiders hold positions on their board. Anyways, this is really interesting.
Massive investigations you'll hear about almost nowhere else.
That's true. CoffeeZilla also broke open the Lego ordeal. I didn't know much about that, but there was this just look it up. Actually, I can't even explain it. It's pretty cool. CoffeeZilla and Jay sitting in a tree. Yeah, I love CoffeeZilla. I would love to be friends with him.
The Wall Street Journal, Politico, both talking about how Polymarket has been running deceptive ads. They're hyping up the odds of your success, many times not disclosing that they are paid to do so. And even worse, a lot of the trades are completely fake. Not only that, these investigations heavily imply that Polymarket knew and facilitated a lot of this deception, even going so far as to create a fake website for these people to put their fake bets on. It's a bombshell allegations. And I really was like, well, why aren't more people talking about it? And then I realized, oh yeah, because so many people are on the take from the prediction market industry. They aren't exactly unbiased sources. They're making money from this industry. They have a vested interest in making it look as good as possible. You have huge celebrities like Rick Rubin, like Timothy Chalamet. You gonna hear about it from the news? Oh, sorry. Well, CNN actually has a prediction market partnership with Kalshi. You gonna hear about it from Fox News? Oh no, actually they have a prediction market partnership with Kalshi once again. Are you gonna hear about it from the Wall Street Journal? Well, actually yes, but the Dow Jones is actually partnered also with Polymarket. This is a fun fact that was brought up to me by one of the journalists who wrote the story as a line of disclosure they had to make, actually.
My name is Caitlin Ostroff. I'm a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, and we just did a piece on how Polymarket is paying for deceptive bets to be shown on your social media feed. And even the Wall Street Journal, our parent company, Dow Jones, is a partner of Polymarket. So, like, you know, that is a fun line of disclosure that we get to put in literally everything we do. It's the highlight of my day.
Yeah, what a disaster. You run this incredible piece of hard-hitting journalism only to find out your parent company has a partnership with that company. Now, credit to them for reporting it. You know, it's a huge bombshell. Obviously, Polymarket.
Sorry, thank you, Kimberly, for the Antifa dues.
Is probably not happy with it at all. And basically, the central finding is all around not only fake bets, but all these videos that were going out showing people making a ton of money. It turns out it was happening a lot of the times on a fake website that Polymarket set up. So I'm gonna have you watch a few of these videos and notice the URL.
Bro, what? Will Trump say April Fool's this week? 4%? Bro, what the?
I had a question on this one. I think he missed it. Just you see the date? April Fool's is, I don't know when he did say April Fool's, but like April 4th? Isn't April 1st April Fool's Day?
4%? Bro, what the?
Want to be accused of April Fool's?
Yes!
Trump say McDonald's in January.
Oh, I guess that was State of the Union. Was the State of the Union on April 5th?
Good deal as usual. But you know, in the old days, McDonald's...
Yo! Now, there's a lot more videos just like those. The general format is they make a long shot bet, get paid out a ton of money. Isn't that so wonderful? And if you look at the URL, it very clearly says Polymarket, or at least, you know, that's what I think that says. I'm zooming in. It looks like Polymarket, but the Wall Street Journal says it's a different website entirely.
We have spoken to people who have told us that Polymarket created this website. That this website, Polymarket, was made by Polymarket.
Wait, you said I didn't just have an aneurysm. I just heard Polymarket. What
This
are
is
you
at least
talking
what
about?
we have called it. This is the so. Polymarket has created this program where they have told college-age creators to film content promoting the website.
Saying Polymarket, so P-O-I-Y, and that's what they're going to kind of highlight here. This is how they were able to do this, P-O-I-Y.
And as part of that,
instead of P-O-L-Y, you can figure out how that would look differently in the browser, right?
they should film themselves making trades. Now, to film these trades, Polymarket, our reporting shows, created a fake website called Polymarket, or at least that's what we are calling it, but it's P-O-I-Y Market. And when the I is capitalized, it looks exactly like the real thing in terms of the URL. But when you look at the actual website where the trades are being placed, there's a bunch of discrepancies that we found, which led us to realize that a lot of these bets that are being placed weren't actually on Polymarket's websites. They're on this fake website that Polymarket gave creators access to go and make.
If you are a man in this, because I don't know what your algorithms show if you're not, but if you are somebody who gets targeted by like the alpha males, there's I can't even remember what it is. Like these betting apps. It's not just Polymarket, like Roobet. If you're familiar with seeing like ads for Roobet, you'll have these kids go in and they'll like They'll order ice cream or something, and then while they're waiting for their ice cream, they're like, "Look, let me make a bet on Roobet," and they'll make a bet, and they're like, "Oh, I just won $1,000." Roobet got caught doing the same thing, and CoffeeZilla, the same person doing this investigation, caught Roobet and many of these other like offshore casinos doing the same thing with like I know he caught Steve Will Do It, yeah, Bet365. They caught a bunch of these. I think they caught Andrew Tate doing it. Don't quote me there. I can't remember if that's true or not. Anyways, a bunch of these. What's his name? What's that? Aiden Ross got caught doing this. Basically, they were gambling fake money. So the people that were running these offshore casinos would just, on the back end, would resupply their money. So they'd sit there and they'd lose $1 million in an hour, and they're like, "Holy shit, I just lost $1 million in an hour." And then they caught off stream when they forgot to turn off the camera. They caught Steve Will Do It, like calling his guy at Roobet and like, "Hey, I need you to reload for me." Like we blew through it all, and it was made to look like, oh, holy shit, they're actually winning. This type of scam's been going on for a while, and this is why CoffeeZilla is involved. But he's been uncovering this stuff forever. The ironic part is that you put in the Trump administration, and now this stuff isn't being investigated. Now the DOJ is just leaving it be. And Trump's kids are being put on the boards. And they're on CNN. They're on Fox News. They've bought their way into prominence, and they're entirely corrupt. They're cheating like crazy. And what they're doing in order to get protection is they're allowing like government officials or friends of government officials to rig these markets and trade on insider information and make an absolute fortune. And then they're incentivized to have this keep going.
What looked like real bets.
Guys, to state the obvious, I don't know who thought of this. 1, diabolical. 2, I mean, dude, I cannot tell. I spelled, by the way, one with an I, one with an L, but I forgot which one I spelled.
Wait, what? The UFC did it with Arman Sarukian betting on Justin Gaethje. Was that fake? I know, like, Arman has a crazy amount of money. I think he and like his dad's like a billionaire, right? I don't know anything about that. Will you send that to me, Roly Poly?
With an L, and I literally looking at it right now. I just wrote this. I can't tell the
Gaethje did win.
difference between the two. Those are not the same URL. And that was the cheat code they were basically using, was giving the creators the one where it looks like.
I'm sure. Yes, WYSI. There's plenty of evidence, and they're gonna show you this evidence. The first evidence is that obviously they're using a fake. They're using a not a fake site, but I guess like a replica site. And they went back and they tracked the actual bets that they were making, and they would have lost money.
You know, when you're taking the cell phone cam of your browser, it's going to show the actual browser. And so it looks like, oh, Polymarket, you're actually at their secret polymarket.com, where they were running a simulated version of the website to do fake trades for fake bets. So it looks like they could get rich. Which is fraud, by the way. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, I don't think you can just deceive people.
If it was qualified, they'd all be in jail. No. Trump's Department of Justice no longer investigates financial crimes when it comes to betting markets and the crypto markets. What about my Trump claim? Don Jr. is on the board of both Polymarket and Kalshi. They have not investigated. There's one person who's been investigated. There was some military insider who bet on when they would go and get what's his name? Venezuela, Maduro. And since he knew when the raid was going to take place, he bet on it. And we can't even get a direct answer from the military as to what's happened. But yeah, like weirdly enough, Don Jr. is on the board of both Polymarket and Kalshi, who are competitors, and Don Jr. has absolutely no expertise in any of this. Obviously, he doesn't.
Thinking, oh, that's a real product video when it's a complete fake. Oh, it's so easy to get rich, like all these guys trading. Look at all these college-age people like you. Get in our
the soldier made $400,000
app early, right? While you're young, while we can get you hooked into our platform. And actually, the truth of the financial impact of these trades is much different than what they tell you.
Yeah.
Voidzilla is his name. You can see here. This is his channel, Voidzilla. His main channel is CoffeeZilla, Zilla, and then just the word coffee in front of it. This one is when he's not doing the investigations.
Yeah, there was 118 bets that appeared like the person won in the video, and more than half of those would have lost in real life. And if you look at the amount that people were supposed to win, one that was paid out,
Quick search. Don Jr. is not on the board. Let's do a quick search. Don Jr. does not serve on Polymarket's board of directors, but he is a formal member of their advisory board and an investor in the company through his venture capital firm, 1789 Capital. Your search was too quick there. Why goo goo do do do? He is just not the board of directors. He's on the advisory board and he's an investor. And what if we do Kalshi? He serves as a strategic advisor for the company. See how we do this? See how we fact check in real time? You're welcome.
But if you replicated all of those trades, you would have lost $166,000.
So it turns out if you actually did all these get-rich-quick bets that are looking like many times they're actually paying out on these social media videos, you'd actually be in over $100,000 of debt. Which is, more than a lot of colleges get you into, which is crazy because college is the big debt trap. And it turns out that these people who are trying to present this college side hustle are presenting you with an even worse debt trap. It's also, hey, why not spin up a gambling addiction while you're at it? And of course, the reason to spin up that gambling addiction, the possibility of great riches, was a farce. It was a smokescreen of advertising. Now, maybe you're thinking, look, hey, Stephen,
thank you, Kelsey. I thought your last name was Man-Hater. That's correct. That's caught me off guard.
Get real. This is what casinos do. And that's exactly the point. For a long time, for years now, the playbook of this industry, prediction markets, has been they're not casinos. They are event contracts. They're not gambling. They're hedging economic exposure. It's not a parlay. It's a combo, right? They have all these euphemisms for everything.
Are you doubling down on this? My claim was that he was awkward. No, that wasn't my claim. He's not on the board he's not on the board of directors. He's on the advisory board, a different board. Are you really doubling down on this? Don't be that fucking loser that he gets proven wrong in real time. Just own it. Look, I do this show every single day. I'm wrong almost every day. And then I just admit that I was wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Don't double down on this right now. Don't, please. People are enjoying the interaction there. I like having some pushback. If you start doing this shit where when you're corrected, you double down on it, then nobody can take you seriously anymore. And we got to find somebody else to talk to. So please, I've been enjoying the interaction with you. Just maybe you thought I only meant board of directors. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. But he's clearly on the advisory board, and he's an advisor on the with Kalshi, which would put him on the advisory board. Just own that. Yes, the advisory board. Advisory board. Yes. The board doesn't mean just the board of directors, right? It could be any board. He's on the advisory board. Crazy. Don't be that way. I want this platform to be a place where people can admit that they're wrong. And that starts with me. If I can do it, you can do it.
But it turns out when you actually look under the hood, they're doing all the same things, including, by the way, the marketing playbook, which, yes, has been fake bet slips, fake influencer winnings, influencers pretending, they're making all this money. And then on the most dastardly side, even the platforms themselves getting involved with the deception, which appears to be what the Wall Street Journal is alleging here. Polymarket setting up this poi market itself. Now, maybe you're wondering, well, did they really know? They actually made a statement saying, quote, they're committed to maintaining accurate, fair, and transparent markets. We are part of a rapidly growing industry and constantly evaluating ways to improve how we're engaging and earning the trust of our audience. The company says it plans to conduct a comprehensive audit of active promotional content. Guys, they're going to investigate themselves. But now's where we turn to the Politico story.
I'm Maya Kaufman. I'm a reporter for Politico, and I wrote about how paid influencers are hyping Polymarket's odds.
This
By the way, Facebook, I think Twitter, they're all now exploring how they can get in on this. Now, this is now a model that they've seen as successful, and they've seen how easily it can be manipulated. It's also interesting on the back end here because Polymarket doesn't, and I haven't used Polymarket, so correct me if I'm wrong here. I've only used Kalshi. There's no there's no rake from Kalshi, and in betting terms, that just means when I put a bet, if I put a bet in on Kalshi or a prediction, Kalshi isn't taking any of that money from me. That all of the money that's pooled in goes to the people who bet on the right side of that bet. With a casino, generally, and bets have different odds, but just like a generic bet will be minus 110, and then even money. So I can bet $110 to win $100, and that extra $10 that I bet is going to go to the casino, and they just want to make that extra $10. So when you look at these companies now who are trying to get into this, and they're not taking a rake, it's because they want insider trading. Like, this was set up to be ripe for insider trading, and we did nothing about it. We kind of just let it happen. I was around. Some of you are new, but like before I did this, and the only reason I had TikTok is I was a professional sports bettor before this. And that sounds like maybe to some of you that I knew a lot about sports. I don't know if that's, I don't think that that's even true. In fact, when I was sports betting, I kind of didn't like watching sports anymore. It kind of killed my desire to watch sports. But what happened is there were all these sports books that would come, that came into Arizona. So we had like, when I was doing it, there was FanDuel, there was Caesars, there was DraftKings, there was some local one like Desert Diamonds. There were some offshore ones like Bet365. What's the Bovada? Anyway, there were all these different sports books. And what I would do is I had a software that would go through and it would check all of the lines. And I would just bet on outliers. So if everybody had, let's say, for the NBA Finals, the Game 6 of the NBA Finals, let's say, I don't even know who was favored, but let's say the Knicks were favored by 3 points on every sports book. But then I found one of these outliers that had the Knicks favored by 2 points. Well, that's a weakness just in the market. It doesn't matter what I think the outcome of that game is. If I take Knicks -2 instead of -3, I now have a mathematical edge. And so I would sort through these, and I had a program that allowed me to sort through these in real time, and I would sit in front of my computer for like 12 hours a day. And I would just wait until I found one of these outliers, and I would bet on it. I was betting on sports I knew nothing about, but I was just giving myself a statistical edge over the other sports books. Within 3 months, I did this for about 3 months full time. It was really a lucrative thing. Within 3 months, every one of those sports books, except for Caesars, shut me down. Now, they can't take away your access from betting, but they limit you. So like on FanDuel and DraftKings, if I were to go log into my account, I don't even know what the logins are anymore, if I even still have them. If I go to log in and I try and bet $100 on any game, if I hit submit, unless it's a parlay, but just like an individual bet, if I hit submit for $100, I'm going to get an alert and it says the max amount you can wager on this game is 27 cents or 30 cents. And they just limit you so that you really can't make any money. So anybody who actually knows what they're doing and is good at sports betting because they're using math rather than their own knowledge and they're just finding an edge, the sports books don't want that, and so they limit you. They're allowed to cheat. And that level of cheating was problematic to me. I didn't like that. It shut down my whole revenue stream. So then I was like, well, maybe because I can't bet, I can make content and I'll help other people make money. But then like people would just bet on a game, it would lose, and they'd freak out. I'd get these angry DMs and messages like, fuck you, I lost my rent money, you don't know shit. And I was like, I don't want to be part of this anymore. And that's when I dropped it. But that's why I had TikTok, and I just wound up in a political debate one night, and then this shit all kicked off. But that was bad. That was corrupt. And it was one of those instances where it's like, okay, why do these sports books, like, they don't, like, they just play by rigged rules, and they allow it. We allowed sports betting to become legal, and we also allow them to rig the entire thing. This is sports betting on steroids. Not only are they able to rig things, but there is no consequence for insider trading here. You can put somebody on your board that's on your board and your competitor's board. That person can bet. They can share that information. They can suggest things to bet on. Nothing happens. Nothing happens if they do insider trading. No, they didn't catch me cheating like counting cards. Counting cards is also not cheating. They caught me beating them at their game. That's what they caught. It's not cheating. Nothing I did was illegal. That's why they couldn't shut down my accounts, by the way. If what I did was illegal, there would be a charge and they could shut down my account, but they couldn't. Their loophole is they can limit me, which is admitting that I'm not cheating. It's admitting that I'm just too good for them to take my money, and I'm what they call a winning player. Same with card counters. They don't get arrested. If you go into a casino and you count cards and you get caught counting cards, you do not get arrested. You do not get charged with a crime. Instead, the casino says you're banned. You cannot come here anymore. And they'll either say you can't play blackjack anymore or you're banned from our casino. And if you show up again to the casino, then you can be arrested, but it won't be for counting cards. It will be because you're not allowed there, right? It would be criminal trespassing because you've been escorted off and told you are not welcome there anymore. I can go into any of these sports books and I can bet, but I'm just limited. It's not a crime. But it's crazy that just in your effort to want to argue with me all day long, you're now siding with sports books and casinos as if they're ethical. It's cool.
Once again, about a lot of undisclosed promotions. This time, instead of college students, it was a lot of like progressive and conservative commentators that they caught on the take, many times undisclosed promotions. But what's worse about this one is who's doing the paying. It turns out it's the company's chief marketing officer, Matthew Madaber, who used a personal PayPal account to send money to content creators. Now, why does...
Real quick, in case you didn't catch this story.
Marketing officer, Matthew Madaber, who used a personal PayPal account to send money to content creators.
Yeah. Remember when we were watching Nick Shirley's investigative journalism on Cuba and he was talking to that dude on the street and he's like, did you know you can actually bet on whether or not your country will be corrupt? And I laughed. You can go on my Instagram or any of my shorts and you can actually find, we clipped this. We were laughing about how Nick Shirley in Cuba talking about these people who were in poverty, had the audacity to talk to one of these people who was struggling. Like, did you know in our country you can actually bet on it? Polymarket. And he was wearing a Polymarket shirt. That's so gross. Look, there he is. He's in the Polymarket hoodie right there. Gross.
Now, why does it matter that the CMO's getting involved with particularly paying people? Well, again, they claim like, oh, you know, we're trying to improve trust. We're going to do a comprehensive audit. Well, that all has to imply that they didn't know about this fake website, right? At the highest level, oh, this is just some rogue intern somewhere. So what does it look like when the CMO is involved?
It's not against Mormonism. It absolutely is. But Nick Shirley is like most, every Mormon friend I know, like all of my friends, not all, 70% of my friends that were Mormon dudes are like degenerate gamblers. Almost all of my friends at some point have like almost got divorced because they gambled away too much money. It is very prevalent in Utah. In fact, there was like, we had one of the places I worked in Utah, I ran call centers there, and we had to like ban cell phones for a while. And because there was all these people betting with a bookie, and the bookie like showed up at the call center because so many people owed him money and he was like threatening them. It was a crazy time.
That he was using a personal PayPal account to send money to all kinds of influencers, and we were able to verify the identities of about 24 influencers who all combined were receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars of payments from this PayPal.
Not disclosed. Like many of these people's, their audiences had no idea that there were these...
Actually, funny story about that. Somebody said apparently the Mormons are swingers too. They'll just connect this. This is completely unrelated. One of the people we wound up firing partially because of that and partially because we hated him was Jordan, the guy on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'd never did. We all said his last name Nagaka Takatura. We didn't know. He was the most hated person that worked at that call center. He only made it like 2 months, but he was one of the people that lost a bunch of money. He wasn't married at the time, and I just want to say for the record, that guy's a bitch. I fucking hate that guy, and everybody I know hates that guy. So if you watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and you hate Jordan, it's like that's exactly who he is. Yeah, Jesse's husband. That's the one. Fucking orange on a toothpick. We also call him orange on a toothpick. His head is outrageously large.
Posts, and they didn't know they were basically paid to promote either the trustworthiness of Polymarket, to promote certain mayoral bets, to promote, you know, different event contracts, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, it's kind of funny. The thing that I've been thinking about is these
are companies that purport to.
Wait, I only know well, I know some of the husbands. Careful. I don't know any of the wives. Is that true? I don't know any of the wives. I used to play basketball with Ingeman, Brett, and I knew Brett when he played quarterback at BYU, and he also previously was married to a friend of mine. And then I know Jordan. I don't watch the show. I just happen to know two of those people.
Be about truth, right? They say they are better engines for truth. And yet this is deception right at the heart of getting in the front door.
Yeah, the FTC has rules around advertising disclosure for precisely this reason. They want people who are seeing paid promotions to know that these are paid promotions. And our data team did an analysis of the posts from all of the influencers that we identified. And during a 14-month span, we found that they posted at least 490 times on X without disclosures about Polymarket.
So, yeah, the CMO didn't notice that. The CMO didn't notice all these people he's paying from his personal PayPal are not disclosing its paid ad. And so Polymarket knew, hey, it's
yeah, they're just paying off the Trump administration, though. They just pay all these people off. Yeah. Thank you for the gifted memberships, Alter Ego. Appreciate that.
Better engagement if these people don't say they're paid by us. It looks better as some organic.
Also, yeah, I did live it in real life. I knew about the swinging thing because I have another friend who was involved in the swinging, but she did not become part of the secret lives of Mormon wives. She is very prominent on social media. She has a big following. I will not say her name. She was married to one of my closest friends, not anymore, and she lives in LA now. She's married to some basketball player, but I did know about that.
Thing, right? So that's what you see over and over again. Once again, the casino playbook. But forever, they've been denying the allegations of. We see it time and time again. And these two investigations brought it all together. You have the fake betting website, and then you have the CMO directly involved with a lot of these partnerships that are not disclosing these advertisements. Now, of course, I don't want to leave you with the impression that Polymarket is the only one who might have done activity like this. They're just the most credibly accused right now. To be clear, this industry is extremely competitive. Everyone's trying to jump in, trying to use growth at all costs to start it. You know, the king of steal your idea, Mark Zuckerberg, has recently directed Meta to create a prediction markets app. And you know Mark Zuckerberg knows a good platform idea for exploiting teens when he sees one. I mean, wow. He must be lights out with this idea. Right now, the New York Times claims users would not wager money and the apps would probably rely on video game points, although the company has not rolled out the eventual use of real money betting. Let's be honest, we know where this is headed. Even the president himself, you know, Truth Social, I think they're starting a Truth Predict, or they're trying to. You've got the president's son. I believe he's some type of advisor for Kalshi, which the CEO of Kalshi was actually asked about, like, why would you actually bring on this guy? What experience does
both, though. Maybe CoffeeZilla missed that, but both Kalshi and Polymarket.
He bring? And the answer there is pretty priceless.
Why did you guys make Donald Trump Jr. a strategic advisor?
We have a lot of advisors, and they span across the board, across different functions. But really, this is all about growing this industry, the prediction market industry that a lot of people really believe in.
What kind of advice does he give you?
So it really is, again, about growing prediction markets.
Does he come to meetings? How much do you pay him? What's his role? I mean, this is the son of the president.
We have a lot of advisors.
He's not just any advisor. He has a direct line to the White House.
We have a lot of advisors.
Yeah, the reality is people are going to do anything to grab as much of this market as they can, which is essentially like...
Let's just be honest. Like, he's an advisor because of who his dad is. That's why. Nobody thinks Don Jr. is like a good businessman. He has no success until they started running these corrupt crypto schemes. You can't say it, but that's why he's there.
Casinos, but legal in all 50 states and on your phone. I mean, that's basically the pitch. There's obviously going to be a lot of money and people are willing to kind of do whatever it takes. But of course, that begs the question. Well, if that's the case, then we need to rely on regulators in order to stop the excesses of people trying to grab as much money as possible. And, there are rules in place, as Maya, the reporter, actually talked about. There's the FTC guidelines.
That's fair. You think Don Jr. is better? You should look at Kushner? Yeah, obviously Kushner. But Don Jr. is a dumber version of Jared Kushner.
We're not supposed to promote something and not disclose it. Of course, that's what a lot of people have done. So I wanted to know, like, do these reporters believe that something's actually going to happen
Yeah,
here?
anachronistic. That's exactly right. He just gave it away. He's on the board to build the markets. That's what he's there for. These people are on the board to legitimize it. And if Don Jr.'s advising his dad and advising members of Congress, and the members of Congress do whatever daddy says, these are all obvious crimes, right? Where's the DOJ on this? Why is it the Wall Street Journal? Why is it YouTubers? Where the fuck is the DOJ? Do you think they'll announce charges today? I bet they won't.
We did ask the FTC about what we found. We presented a summary of our reporting and we asked, is this something that would fall under their rules? And they didn't respond to any of my follow-up emails. So my indication is I really don't have that much insight into what they're thinking about this, if at all. Generally, these agencies, if they do have investigations, they're not confirming those to reporters while they're open. But the silence, I think, was pretty deafening when we reached out to them.
Honestly, no idea. It's really weird being a journalist these days, and really at any point in history, because you never quite know what the public reaction will be. I mean, we haven't heard anything specific from the CFTC, but also generally government agencies don't comment on if they were going to do investigations into much of anything. So, if they want to investigate, that is their right, but we haven't heard anything.
Well, at least they're honest. We don't truly know what's going to happen, although personally, I'll just give my opinion. I don't think they're going to be investigated for this. Poly market, I don't think, any of these prediction markets are really going to get meaningfully regulated, and I think that's a bad thing for everyone else. Yeah. And specifically, I hope this video has shown, if somebody...
Our economy is a carnival. All of the most lucrative sectors of our economy are rigged carnival games. We're a fucking joke. And I do also want to say this. A lot of people are like, if you hate it here, leave. I would. If I didn't have a daughter with a mother who would like to stay here, I would leave. But I'm not going to leave my daughter. It's not like, we're not on a good path. All of this stuff is problematic. And the reason that all of these obvious scams exist is because people can't actually make it running real businesses now. It's all a fucking joke. Like, think of what we've covered so far today. We've covered prediction markets that are obviously rigged, where you can trade on insider information and nothing happens at all. We also covered a story that Congress has decided to pass some legislation that will make it easier for all of us to afford housing. And the president said, I'm not going to sign that unless you let me rig the elections. And then we covered a story about Wendy's, a fast food place that is struggling. And we showed how all of these people trying to take advantage of the downfall of Wendy's, these institutional investors, are being thwarted by people like you and I, instead buying up shares of Wendy's and killing their short position and costing them hundreds of millions of dollars because our stock market is a goddamn carnival game. And then we talked about Israel, who's actively doing genocides and making it so that we can't have a legitimate ceasefire with Iran. And we can't do anything about Israel because they have blackmailed our entire government. And we're still like, I can't, we're still having people in here like, Trump's the best. What? Like, I don't, maybe you like him. That's fine. Do your thing. But like, what the fuck are you guys watching? Even now, like, it's about, you're getting mad now. You're getting mad. Now you're going to attack liberals. But by the way, this is not a liberal place. There are very few liberals here. It's a very progressive stream. And you should understand the difference between those two things. We're not pro-liberal here. Liberals are kind of like you, just bootlickers for the party. Weird pivot. That's a pivot. That was a recap, my friend. Not a pivot. That's a recap. Good to see you though, Crow. All right. Then we get to talk about this, the absolute fucking clown show that is the Trump administration. Now, this is Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan They are clearly selling a book. So let's be honest about their intentions here. There are a lot of people who are upset that they kept all this information not public for their book so that they could sell their book. I don't care that much. I think that's a decent argument. I think if you want to be upset with them, that's fine. But no matter what's reported, it's not going to change a fucking thing with this administration or with MAGA. So I don't care that much. It doesn't make me upset. It's not something that I'm going to get overly upset about. They are here to sell a book. But before I play what they're saying, and before the MAGA folks in this chat start saying that they're lying, I just want to point something out. That the Trump administration's response to every single claim so far has been, they must be spying on us. If the things in this book that are being said were untrue, they would say, that's not true. And they would probably sue them. But the Trump administration and Trump himself is not suing them. And he's not even saying that they're lies. They're saying somebody is leaking. I think we can, and by the way, Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan are legitimate investigative journalists, two of the best in the country, two of the best in the world. They're very careful about their work. Maggie Haberman has written and been an insider, a weird insider with the Trump administration. Somehow she gets Trump to tell her so much shit. And then like every 4 or 5 months, Trump will send out some tweet about Maggie Haberman about like, I fucking hate her. She's a liar. She works for corrupt CNN. And then the next day she's like at the White House interviewing him one-on-one. They have a really weird relationship. Uh-oh, got a spinny wheel here. Hopefully it's working. I don't know if it stopped. Anyways, I want to play this CNN segment. Take it for what it's worth. But I will say that the Trump administration doesn't seem to offer any sort of refute for any of these claims.
Revelations.
Book came out yesterday. You can read it. I just I bought it on Audible. I haven't started it yet.
In a fascinating new book out today about President Trump from co-authors Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, both White House reporters.
Sorry, that's a little
from
quiet.
New York Times. The book is called Regime Change Inside the Imperial Presidency of Donald Trump. Jonathan and Maggie join me now. It is such an incredibly fascinating read. Congratulations to both of you. I want to start with a paragraph from this, which to me was kind of just an amazing paragraph. It's page 167. You write, by midway through the year, a picture was emerging of how the Oval Office operated in Trump's second term. It was of a president spending his days at the Resolute desk in a series of rolling bull sessions accompanied by a core group of intimates. These were supplemented by a rotating cast of extras, and on any given day, they could be Republican lawmakers, titans of industry, former pro-wrestlers.
Are you guys good on the volume here, or do I need to find a different version of this video? Amy said, did you see Russia talking about not exporting any diesel globally? That will be very bad. Yeah, I saw that. I was going to dig into that. It's really low.
It's really low because when you like I raise the volume, but when you speak, it's super loud.
Okay, let me see if I can find the other one. Is this it? What are they wearing? Let me look at what they're wearing. Is this the right one? Here it is.
In October, he's showing a visitor a model of the ginormous arch he wants to build, and he asks... Is
that better? Okay.
Should it be for what should be on?
Sorry, I asked what they were wearing because I want to make sure it was the right. I was looking through YouTube clips and I was making sure it was the right one.
Top of it, he said, should it be? He mused a large replica of his fight fist. So he was seriously thinking of having a giant replica of his fist.
He asked someone whether they thought it was a good idea. He also was asking whether it should be bigger than the Lincoln Memorial. We have a scene in the book where he calls the French president, Emmanuel Macron, to ask him about the Arc de Triomphe. Tell me about your arch, Emmanuel.
I did not lose the election. Harris did. That wasn't me that lost that. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. We're about halfway through the gift goal and a little more than halfway through the live. We've got about an hour left. If you guys can help us knock out the remaining balance of that gift goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal are the way to go. Super Chats also work. They just take more of the money. And TikTok, let me update you guys real quick. I appreciate Johnny still in the lead with Belinda. Dolphin, thank you. I know you've been in and out. I appreciate that, as well as Juju Bug. And I'm just a Bill. If you could help us protect our live by gifting when you can on TikTok, that helps a ton.
Do people jump off it, etc.? The point is, he wants to put his physical imprint not just on America but on the world.
So how much
That's
is
where
he
his
thinking
head
about
is.
legacy? I mean, is that what it
Enormous.
is?
Yes. You have a pie chart of his brain. It's a huge slice.
A paragraph from this, which to me was kind of just an amazing paragraph.
Thank you, Edward, for your partial Antifa dues. Appreciate that. Make sure we get our Antifa dues in by the end of the month, and the potluck will be next Thursday at Antifa headquarters. You all know where that is.
It's page 167. You write, by midway through the year, a picture was emerging of how the Oval Office operated in Trump's second term. It was of a president spending his days at the Resolute desk in a series of rolling bull sessions accompanied by a core group of intimates. These were supplemented by a rotating cast of extras, and on any given day, they could be Republican lawmakers, titans of industry.
Do I buy SpaceX? I wouldn't.
Former pro wrestlers, country musicians, Gulf royals, crypto bros, or friends of felons seeking pardons. They would enter and exit the frame, with some invited to stay for meetings they had no business attending. The conversations ran fast, often straying far from the point or from anything visitors imagined. When they arrived at the White House, the president's sentences often began on one topic and ended far away. It's like the opening scene of an opera. I mean, it's like it would be an incredible stage play, just that visual.
One of the moments that we describe, and we spoke to somebody who laid out this scene for us, is, Trump having a highly classified briefing in the Oval Office, and then in comes the guy with the stone samples for the Rose Garden.
Sure.
So this was last year.
Can you just picture it for a second? It's a classified briefing. And somehow, just imagine you're the president, right? And you have a classified briefing. And your aide comes in and says, hey, the dude with the stone samples is here. Any other president would be like, yeah, they can wait. Actually, any other president would be like, what? The stone samples? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not an interior decorator. I am the fucking president of the United States. I'm trying to solve a war here. But not Trump. Trump's like, hold on, pause. I got to show you guys these fucking stones. You're going to love them. Check out my rocks, guys.
Cortina, he's always talking about their specific stones.
Yeah, and these
terrazzo.
Right, and so these are moments that all sort of collide into each other. There is just this sort of sweeping meeting that takes place all day long, and it means that people are pulled into something, as we say, that probably they shouldn't be listening to. I mean, the stone guy, the paper guy, had essentially walk-in privileges to the Oval, and that's just the way this White House works.
But there's an interesting,
again, that's fucking insane. Guys, look at my walks. Look at them. I picked out the good ones. Everybody's gonna love these walks. They're gonna be in Washington forever. Everybody's gonna be like, what's that walk? That's a pretty walk. And then everybody will say, that's a Trump walk. Trump chose those walks. And then they're all gonna love me. What were you saying about Russia? What in the fuck? This is, again, it's not being refuted. We can laugh at this and pretend that it's not real. Like Maggie, you can pretend that it's not real, but it's real. All this shit is really happening. The president of the United States is stopping classified briefings to show off rocks. Guys, look how much the decorations are going to be cool. See all the gold that's in here? That's cool, right? Now I'm going to do the walks. It's going to be cool. I got a big swimming pool going out there. We're going to drive on it later. That's going to be cool. I'm going to have a big arch. Not like the McDonald's arch, just a big arch. And then the people drive through it and go, oh, that's a Trump arch. Can we just do the classified stuff, please?
Contrast. That's all true, of course, and there's sort of this no delineation, no structure. But what's also true is it's actually a very secretive White House.
Much more so than the first administration.
100%.
But much more so in some ways than even the Biden and Obama administration. I'll give you an example. This memorandum of understanding that has just been published to end the war.
Victoria said, I'm enjoying your pod. Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate that. Big W for Victoria. I believe first-time donor over on Cash App for the $40. Shout out, Victoria. Thank you. I like your profile picture, too.
In Iran, the number of people who had seen that document in the White House and the US government, microscopic, tiny number of people before it was published. People, you have people in the intelligence community that we talk to who are essentially trying to monitor this White House almost like it's a foreign government.
Wow.
They have no idea what's going on. And there are conversations that are happening within such a small group that's running the government. When you have people like Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, doing business, they're really unstaffed. They don't rely on staff much. They basically are these sort of free agents.
Which is really unheard of from other administrations. Normally, if you're a negotiator, you would have a team of experts.
D. Freezy, thanks for the gifted subs. Appreciate that.
In the field, traveling with you, going over documents behind the scenes.
But that's how you get these. I mean, we have a scene in the book where Witkoff goes to meet Putin alone, which is stunning.
This story is fucking insane. Again, nobody's arguing this. This story is fucking insane. I want to know, I hope someday we find out who the leakers are. When Trump dies, we're going to learn a whole lot of stuff. But this story blows my mind. All of this is to say that when MAGA is left to defend Trump and they say he's playing 4D chess because nothing he says ever makes sense, he takes multiple positions on every single issue, and almost nothing he says comes to fruition, but they maintain their allegiance to him. It's not because they're playing 4D chess. It's because he's really fucking dumb and really easily distracted and isn't that interested in being president for any of us. He's just about his legacy, and he has surrounded himself with complete sycophants. Some of the reporting, I don't even know if it's on here, of like, they've seen the notes that people leave. And people are leaving, like people that work for Trump are leaving him notes after meetings like, I love you more than anyone in the entire world. I'll do anything for you. And then they're leaving those notes. It's not a good sign. That is never a good sign when somebody is saying that to the leader. That's like, uh-oh. Some shit's about to happen. Those are people who are fearful, or people who think that like they need to be close to him to be protected.
Right, he's sitting in the room with Vladimir Putin. Steve Witkoff has no experience in diplomacy.
The ambassador's not there.
Right. He's a real estate friend of Trump's, and he's suddenly the Russia envoy. Spends 3 hours with Putin alone, and then we have this scene in the book where he's sitting with Putin in Moscow, and Putin is drawing this doodle of a 3+2, which is the territorial arrangement giving territory to Russia, freezing certain territory. And Witkoff says, can
you calling him stupid while this news channel compares him to Stalin and Hitler, the stupidity. See, this is the thing, Clive. We were talking about you. This news organization didn't compare him to Stalin and Hitler. Donald Trump and the people around him are comparing his power to that of Stalin and Hitler. Not his actions, his power. And the people around him are not saying, sir, you are Hitler, sir, you are Stalin. They are saying you are every bit as powerful as Hitler in Germany and Stalin in the USSR. You can't get past those names to even understand the claim here. CNN not making this claim. Haberman and Swan are making the claim that people around Donald Trump are telling him that he is that powerful, and he is agreeing with them, which, like, if you know anything about Trump, Trump has said multiple times regarding Kim Jong-un and Putin and Xi that I wish people listened to me like the citizens of their country listen to them. Donald Trump wants this kind of power. You're going out of your way to be offended by the names, but these are the people around Trump telling him that he is that powerful. And again, if these were lies, you would expect some sort of discussion coming out of the White House or some sort of statement of, yeah, this is all bullshit, but they're not doing that. They're saying generally like it's all bullshit, but the direct claims, nobody's refuting them. And the reason, and people are speculating, Jonathan Swan and Maggie Haberman are not going to address this. The reason that they're not directly refuting these claims is because when Swan and Haberman have put this information out and it's in the book, when you see these quotes, they're in quotations, which means they're directly quoting someone. And if the Trump administration comes out and says that didn't happen and tries to sue them, Haberman and Jonathan Swan have something, whether it's a recording, whether it's a transcript, whether it's testimony, they have something. Somebody is either giving them, showing them, having them listen to or watch direct quotes. And those people are in the White House. And those people are not on the record from their names, but Haberman and Jonathan Swan, in order to protect themselves as legitimate journalists, have a record of this. That's why there's no direct refutation. The reason that you are refuting it right now is because you just think Donald Trump's perfect and there's a CNN logo, so you're like, oh, it's not true. And it doesn't matter. Like, nobody does investigative journalism for you. You wouldn't know what to do with good investigative journalism. Nobody's worried about convincing you of something that's true or not. You have your head buried inside of that dude's asshole. So this isn't really for you. You're just going to be upset this whole time. In fact, just like take care of your own mental health, take a hike, go somewhere else, talk about something else for a little bit. This isn't going to go well for you. But I'd like to see somebody refute any of this. Let's get back to, again, this is Witkoff meeting with Putin.
You sign that for me. And Putin signs his signature and Witkoff takes it home and gets it framed. But again, it's this, there is a contempt for expertise.
Witkoff got Putin's autograph. Jamar said, what do you call a photo of Richard? That's a dick pic. Vanessa said, them damn Antifa fees. Let's talk about what, Clive? Are you in the White House? How are you going to refute any of these claims? How in God's name are you going to refute any of these claims? You can't refute them. You weren't there. You're just going to say they didn't happen. What are we going to debate? Well, they seem to say it happened and the White House hasn't refuted them. I'll refute them. Nobody gives a fuck what you say. Right? Because you weren't there. Unless you were, in which case, come on up. Let's have a conversation.
There is a contempt for, it's deeper than contempt for the deep state. It's basically anyone who's been doing this for a long time, you're probably, not up to it.
Well, it gets to the next paragraph, which what I want to just read to people. You say, to the extent he still cared, this is the difference of this term versus the last. To the extent he still cared about polling at all, he was seeing far fewer polls than during his first term. His advisors knew he was not receptive to being briefed on harsh realities. In his second term, unlike his first, he was willing to take breathtaking risks that could throw.
Now, we know that's true because Donald Trump always is referencing polls that don't exist. So we know that somebody is feeding Donald Trump poll numbers. And those poll numbers, I'm guessing, are from like Truth Social. Because he's always saying shit like, I have a 98% approval rating in the GOP. No, you don't. Or like, if you look at the real polls, I'm more popular than any other politician in the country when he's at like 30% approval. And he's not more popular than any politician in the country. This checks out to me just based on what Donald Trump says. One of two things is true. Either Donald Trump is being fed fake polls and he believes them, or he's making shit up. But this story kind of checks out for the other part, that the people, and this is more concerning, because I know Donald Trump's going to lie. It's what he does. It's more concerning when there's people around him that know he can't handle bad information, and so they feed him like cherry-picked polls to feed his ego. And that means the people around him are enabling him to be the dumbest motherfucker on earth. And that's, I think, why you also see this loyalty and this fealty, because in order to work with Donald Trump and in order to continue to support what he's doing and defend what he's doing, you kind of just have to decide that the reality isn't reality. And a lot of the quotes in this book are people just kind of saying like, you know what? A lot of times what Trump says isn't true, or we don't have intelligence to back up what he's saying, but his gut is so good that we just go with his gut. For the record, his gut is bad. His gut doesn't get us into good places. He's pretty good, honestly. In fact, he's very good at understanding what conservatives want to hear. That's one thing where his gut instinct has been pretty right as far as winning elections. He was able to just completely steamroll the GOP into handing everything to him. He was right about that. But his gut on economic decisions, on foreign policy decisions, not good. Not good at all.
Not only his presidency, but the Republican Party and the entire world into chaos and carnage. More than ever before as president, he was operating on pure gut instinct, which makes what happened with Iran, it makes sense.
Yes, I mean, and we really describe that in great detail in the book, just about the lead up to the Iran war.
Talk about what you've learned, because it's not as if, there were all we played endless montages of him saying, oh, nobody briefed me on that. Nobody's...
Am I a geopolitical expert? Probably not. I don't know what that means.
Nobody.
But I know that everything he said he was going to do in Iran didn't happen. What's your experience in overseas policy? I have eyes, brother. I can read. I know what Trump said he was going to do. I know what happened. So he was wrong. We know that, right? You're appealing to to some sort of authority. I would ask you why you're not asking the people like Steve Witkoff what his experience is in geopolitics. Why is he an expert? Is Jared Kushner an expert? Is Donald Trump an expert? I don't think any of them are experts. I think I'm every bit as good as they are.
Suggested that
Well,
he was briefed.
It's not true. I mean,
Going to my same argument earlier. I don't know what you're talking about. That they have no experience. Yeah, you should also not choose me to go negotiate with Vladimir Putin. You should also not choose me to negotiate a Middle East peace agreements. I also am not qualified for that. If Donald Trump chose me to negotiate these deals in the Middle East, you would be right to be like, what the fuck? Why did he choose that guy? The guy he's just a YouTuber? And I would argue that I know more than Steve Witkoff.
A couple of things are the case. Number one, he was always more hawkish about Iran than members of his own team. Now, we do not see a world where he would have gone to war against Iran in term one, but he has always been different about Iran. That's why there was the Soleimani strike in 2020.
You message JenDub1 on Discord, JENNDUBB1, and she can bring you up to talk to me. That's how you do it.
Which, many people around him did not agree with, not think was a good idea, thought it was too big a risk. Now, he was much more aligned with Benjamin Netanyahu than members of his own team wanted to see, and yet the evidence was there throughout 2024 and then afterwards. He was informed of the options. There was really no one on his team who thought this was a great idea. The person who really was very vocal about it with the president was J.D. Vance. And it cost J.D. Vance with the president. But the president was informed of various scenarios of what could happen and downsides by Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, one of which was munitions depletion, one of which was the possibility that the Strait of Hormuz would have been closed. The president and the president's own Secretary of State and CIA director examined these scenarios about regime change that Benjamin Netanyahu had portrayed in this remarkable meeting in the Situation Room to President Trump on February 11th. And one of them said it was farcical. The other said, I think we can say this on air, is bullshit, was Marco Rubio's quote. The president knew all of this, and he still wanted to go ahead and try this.
So you ask yourself the question, how do we get into this situation where we have dangerously low supplies of critical long-range munitions? This is a national crisis, national emergency, actually, in terms of our supplies of interceptors, missile interceptors, long-range weapons. Well, if you're Donald...
Look at Wesley Clark. He knew about us invading Iran right after 9/11. I know one does not have to do with the other, but it came straight from his mouth that we're invading Iran more than 20 years ago. Yeah, I know who Wesley Clark is.
Trump, and you have a gut instinct that this war is going to be over like that, those questions become...
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah. You asked the president if there had ever been an American president as powerful as him. You're kind of setting a nice layup right there. He brought out a list of historical figures. This is from the book. Alexander the Great, the Caesars, William the Conqueror. They didn't have airplanes, right? You couldn't travel around. This is the president talking. Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, Tamerlane.
This is a quote. So if the White House, if Donald Trump is going to say that this is fake, he's going to worry, like, there's a quote here. So there must be some sort of proof that they have this if they're using it as a direct quote. And there's a reason that Trump has not come out and said this is wrong.
Napoleon, he said with relish. Hitler, Mao, Stalin, these leaders maintained power through fear, he said. Who would ever do a thing like that, right? Trump lingered on the document's central argument that each leader, however fearsome in his day, had no global reach. Their power was local, but his was not. It's remarkable.
So we asked the question because, number one, the war against Iran had started just a few weeks earlier. And number two, he had been boasting publicly about how no other president would do the things.
So what's your prediction? Life after Trump, his sons, GOP, all the illegal mergers, think things will go back to normal? No, it's either going to get significantly worse because there's no going back to normal, or there's going to be a massive societal revolt against the 1%. You can't put this back in the box because it's a broken system that got us here. You can't really backtrack these. I think that when Trump dies, things will change radically. Like, even when Trump isn't in power anymore, like the entire MAGA movement will faction. You've seen people playing their cards early already. I think that's what Tucker Carlson's doing. I think that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. They see the writing on the wall that MAGA is done after Trump's gone. And so they're like, I'm going to get in early on this. And it will look good for them. Like, this is going to be a good move for Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene, because everybody else will turn on Trump too. Or the MAGA movement, maybe not even on Trump, but on the MAGA movement. And they'll be able to look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker and be like, oh, you guys were right. And that will be like the new power structure, is those people.
That he had done. And he had said to Tucker Carlson, at some point, I'm the most powerful president, that ever lived. I'm paraphrasing. So we put the question to him about how he sees it.
I think both of us found it one of the most astonishing moments we've ever had with Trump, because he hands us this document and he says it was written by a historian. And the opening line says, Donald Trump is the most powerful man who's ever existed on the planet. And it goes on to compare him to all those people you named, some of the great monsters of history.
Who was it that was arguing earlier that it was CNN that was comparing Trump to these to Stalin and Hitler? Wait till you find out that it was Trump.
The most ruthless dictators and conquerors of history. And there was no moral dimension to it. The only point was power. And the point was he has power, but it was something he wanted us to understand, a slightly more subtle point, which was in the document, which was, it's not just that I control the US military and the most powerful economy in the world, the most powerful technology in the world, it's that I'm willing to use the power. And that was the assessment. And it was very interesting because he was relishing that company. And one thing that we've been toying with in our reporting and sort of trying to understand.
Yeah, El Capitan, we covered that earlier.
As we go through this book is just to try to understand, why is this term so different from the last term? And there are many reasons for that. But one of them is Trump himself is far less reactive to domestic politics. Like, his aides are trying to get him interested in the midterm elections.
He's not looking at polls in the way he used to.
Not the way he used to.
It's not totally binary. It's not black and white, but he really doesn't care that much. Yeah. It's small stuff. He essentially told this. I mean, it was handed to us.
By the way, the historian he's talking about is the golf caddy.
Former golf caddy,
right. for Gary Player. Right. Just a couple of other details I just want to get in. He shows you go in to talk to him on the 13th day of the Iran war.
I didn't know this. What's on Gary Player's caddy? I didn't know this part of the story. I must have missed this. What is his name? Dave King. He's a wealthy South African businessman and close personal friend of Gary Player. King is not a professional historian. He gained international attention when it was revealed that he wrote a 2-page document comparing the power of modern U.S. presidents to historical dictators. Oh, so we can actually find it? Do we have the actual? I'll see if I can find it.
His desk. What is he poring over?
Yeah, so I think it might have been the 17th day. But 17th. Yeah, but so when we walk in, he's got he's holding these pictures of maple trees, and he starts talking about how he's installing maple trees around the
I'm good
White
at
House
buying
complex.
trees.
I'm good at buying trees. Then he wants us to look at his ballroom designs, which he shows lots of people, and he starts talking about the columns, and one side is in honor of Athens, another is Rome. This is what he's focused on.
That's crazy. What's unreliable, Raina? What's unreliable? I know that you're on the Trump train here. We can talk to you for a second. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. I'll update that gift goal here in a minute. But that's how we keep the lights on every single day. If you want to help us knock that out, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App is the way to go. Ty said, could a new administration break up the Warner Brother Paramount merger? I mean, potentially, yeah. I mean, if you go progressive enough, you can break up monopolies. Even if the monopolies are already formed, you can use our anti-monopoly laws, and you can break that shit up. Absolutely. I think what I would much rather see, though, as a way to break these up, is I would expand worker protection and unionization. And so, if you're going to have these massive monopolies, then the people who work at these companies should have voting rights and they should have profit sharing. I think that's the best start. Like, just simply going and breaking up monopolies without fundamentally changing what allows monopolies to exist just sets us, it fixes things for a little bit, and then we're right back to where we are. What we need to do is there's got to be an awareness from the American people of what actually happened to us since 1982. We have to have really strong messaging. People have to understand how big of a failure trickle down economics has been. We have to re-educate an entire population. We have to re-educate a population that is afraid of the word socialism when, like, again, we have a mixed economy. This, like, we pitted ourselves against, like, socialists versus capitalists, or like communists versus capitalists, or free market capitalists, whatever you want to call it. Like, we have to undo decades of 100 years of programming. If you go back, we talked about this earlier in the week, but I'm reading a book right now. I always forget what it's called, but American Psychosis. It's by who is this? David Korn. It goes back to just kind of like the rhetoric surrounding the Great Depression, and the people who were the cause of the Great Depression sounded an awful lot like the MAGA people in this crowd that were saying any attempt to increase unionization, any attempt to increase workers' rights, any attempt to tax the wealthy are just dirty communists. And they lost. They lost that argument because there were just too many people were struggling. And they're like, you can, we don't fucking care. Like, maybe socialism works then. Like, I'm not going to be more afraid of socialism than starving. And so they went down a more progressive route. And that's how we wound up with, over the course of 50 years, that's how we wound up with Social Security. That's how we wound up with Medicare. That's how we wound up with Medicaid. And we made some really progressive changes. It's why our tax code changed to a more progressive tax policy where, again, there was a cap. And when you got to a certain point, it just made no sense for you to keep your money. It made more sense to pay your workers and invest in your workers and invest in your company. And that's what happened. And the wealth got more equally distributed, and deficit spending plummeted. The amount of debt that we were adding every year absolutely plummeted. And all of that was on a good trajectory until Ronald Reagan came along. And then we introduced trickle-down economics, which is the exact same strategy that got us into the Great Depression in the first place. And then towards the end of this type of taxation, our government was like, oh no, we're losing jobs. Like, we got to protect American jobs. How are we going to do it? Let's throw blanket tariffs on these other countries. And then the retaliatory tariffs by other countries and their refusal to do business with us is partially what caused the Great Recession. So we're just redoing this. When they say history repeats itself, this is what we're talking about. But the only reason history is repeating itself now is because of this myth that trickle-down economics works, and also this the all-out like onslaught against just the word socialism. Every time we talk about it, every single day, none of you know what it means. You're just afraid of that word, and the reason you don't know what it means is because the people that have taught you to be afraid of socialism actually are just trying to convince you that it's not okay to tax rich people, and that's it. And so they tell you that any of these things that would cost rich people more money and require rich people to pay more taxes is socialism, and socialism doesn't work. But we have an actual example of trickle-down economics, blanket tariffs, and robber barons and wealth inequality at all-time highs being a problem in this country, and that is the Great Depression. So it's ironic that we look all around the world like, where did socialism work? Well, when did this work? The last time we did what we're doing now, we had the Great Depression. But who was okay in the Great Depression? The super elite. Because they didn't really lose their power. Even when the taxes changed, they maintained their power. They just had less money. But they were good. When has a society ever benefited from catering to the 1%? Show me a society in the history of the world that has ever catered to the 1% like we do that survived. Never. It's never happened. It hasn't even happened in this country. This country, when we get to wealth inequality where it is now, collapse. Every time. But yeah, let's keep pointing all over the world. See, and there it is. Yeah, you're so dumb. We raise more people out of poverty than any time in history. No, we're not. We're not raising more people out of poverty right now than any other time in history. Cite your source for that. Melanie said, our firefighters used to be privately owned, and they would use each other instead of the fire. They would what each other instead of the fire until socialism. I don't know what you mean. Melanie, will you send the rest of that? I don't know exactly what you're saying there. You can send that to Jen if you want in a DM, and we can correct that. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to say there, or I'll look for you in the comments. At the same time, let's see. Genocide victims don't do shit like hijack a plane 5 times with their oppressor citizen. What are you talking about? What's going on with Raina? Jesus Christ! What are you doing? What is that argument that you guys are involved in? It is the Gilded Age all over again. People should go watch the Gilded Age. It's a little slow for me, but I mean, even just the stuff like Trump throwing these audacious parties at Mar-a-Lago while people are struggling. It literally is the Gilded Age. It's Great Gatsby, yeah. Rain has been losing it for a while. Oh, okay, I didn't know. Sorry. Let's see. Thank you, Jen. Jen wants me to remind you that Dollar Train would knock out the remaining balance of that gift goal quick, fast, and in a hurry. We got about 30 minutes left. All right, moving on. All right, here was the part where Lawrence O'Donnell asked about do they have audio tapes. This is not a no.
Inside the imperial presidency of
Donald
quiet. Trump. Jonathan, you got the greatest compliment a White House has ever given a book in the Inside the White House genre, created by Bob Woodward, honorably carried on by you. And this is the first time any White House in any administration has ever received such a book, accusing the authors of having obtained audio tapes of meetings in the White House, including audio tapes of meetings in the Situation Room, which is the White House way of saying this book, as far as they can tell, is 100% accurate. Is that because you have audio tapes of the Situation Room?
We're not going to comment on the tapes. All we'll say is that it is notable that there haven't been denials of very specific scenes inside the Situation Room, which include extensive dialogue.
You have, Maggie,
if they have audio of the Situation Room, someone's life is in jeopardy. Raina says, different Raina. I'm rarely in the comments. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that that's not you. Obviously, that's not you. You were saying insane things. Or Raina in the chat, I guess, was saying insane things. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll end with this. I think this will probably take the rest of the time. This is I remember his name now. Son of a bitch. What is his name? Ray Dalio. God, why didn't I remember that? He was the founder of Bridgewater Capital, largest hedge fund on earth. I'm not advocating for Ray Dalio as a good guy. But this is somebody who understands our markets and understands how markets can be manipulated. And I think this will probably take up the rest of the time. He was on Meet the Press this Sunday, and he's not alone in people recognizing not only historical context, but the money supply, the capital supply that's drying up in this country. If you needed any more evidence that Americans don't have money, and that billionaires are unaware of how little money they have, look no further than SpaceX stock. Where are we at today? You have 156. Look no further than this. SpaceX thought that they would be able to, that the American people would be able to float them, and that they could pay off their debt, and that this price would go up. There's somebody that I don't remember his name that owns a hedge fund that I think he put in $25 billion. I think is what he said he'd invested, and he believed that he was going to make hundreds of billions of dollars off of SpaceX. This is total collapse, and this right here is stagnation. What this means is that SpaceX thought that when they went public enough people in this country would be so pumped about SpaceX that they would continue to invest. The stock price would go up. They could unload their shares and they could pay off the debt that they had. But they can't. Yeah, it started at this was 160. I think it opened. People were able to get shares at 135. I think I want to say it started at I don't know, 160 ish. Let's call it that. But this is proof that there's not liquidity, that we don't have enough money. And the only reason SpaceX right now is even public is because venture capital, private money would no longer fund them. They couldn't get private money anymore. It's all dried up. And so this is pretty indicative of the late stage capitalism, an obviously fraudulent market. They're clearly not worth what we were told they were worth. But here's Ray Dalio kind of explaining this and his projections going into the future.
You have been in this field for more than 50 years. It's worth pointing out to our viewers, I think it's important to note you consider yourself to be apolitical, and you say that the tariff problem is a symptom of a much greater problem. What do you mean by that?
There's a financial problem. There's an imbalance problem. There are basically 5 big forces through history that drive everything. First, there's the money, credit, debt, economic cycle, in which there's a building up of debt in a cyclical way that becomes too large, and we're going to have problems. We're going to have a government debt problem. Maybe we can get into this.
It's a government debt problem, but it's also a debt problem in our private markets. And we've been for 2 years. Holy shit, were we right? Holy fucking shit, were we right about this? 2 years ago, we talked extensively about the collateralized loan obligations of these tech companies. And since then, when it was already at a tipping point, these tech companies have done nothing but loan each other money using their own stock as collateral over and over and over again. And now they have these obligations to pay back money, and they have no money to pay it back. And on top of that, our government is bleeding. We're bleeding debt. We lowered taxes and we're increasing spending at record speeds. In the history of this country, I don't think we've ever had a dumber economy, like a more obviously fraudulent economy. Not CDOs, collateralized loan obligations. And again, the difference between 2008 and the financial collapse is that the price of housing dropped significantly, but there was still collateral because those homes still existed. The structure of those homes still existed. So a house might have been worth $500,000 and now it was worth $80,000, but it was worth something. When these collateralized loan obligations come due, companies will cease to exist. The collateral in which the loan is predicated on will not exist anymore. So companies are going to go under. Lots of companies are going to go under. There will be tremendous economic fallout. And our government can't really bail us out. We don't have enough money to bail us out. We're already fucked. So if we print money to bail ourselves out of this, we're looking at like hyperinflation. This is a scary time for the country, and you need like real experts. You need real shrewd people to navigate this without the entire economy collapsing. And instead, we've got dipshit McDumbfuck as the president, and he's surrounded by even bigger dipshit McDumbfucks who just tell him what he wants to hear every day.
The second big force through time is the internal conflict force. The left and the right, differences in wealth and values causing a conflict that we're seeing it changing our political order. So the first is changing our monetary order.
Danielle said, great live today. Please check Discord DMs after live. I know. I looked at them this morning, Danielle. I'll get back to you. I've just been busy.
The second is changing our political order internally. And then the third is the great...
Thank you, Brittany, for the $20 dollar train.
...world order. How countries deal with each other. When there's a rising power, challenging an existing power. And now we are going from multilateralism, which is largely an American world order type of thing, to a unilateral world order in which there's great conflict. And the other two factors all through history have been acts of nature, droughts, floods, and pandemics. And number 4 is technology changing. And how they are coming together are the main forces behind this. For example, there can't be imbalances anymore in that environment.
Do you think that President Trump's tariffs are exacerbating what you are describing, this complicated mix of challenges that the world is facing?
I think it's just a function of how well they're handled. You know, it's a reality that it's a desire to bring in tax revenue from that. It's a reality that we would like to build manufacturing and jobs here. This is a reality. That's how that's done, whether that's done in a practical way, whether that's done in a stable way, whether that's done with quality negotiations in which that's a mutual problem.
All right, he's using a lot of big words. Here's what is pathetic about some of these people and how confused they make other people. He said, really, the reality is like the outcome is going to be dependent on how this is managed. That's true. I agree with that. The outcome is going to be problematic regardless. How it is managed matters a great deal for how bad this crash is and how the recovery is handled. What he's not acknowledging is that it's really fucking stupid that we have allowed this to happen. It's really fucking stupid that we allow banks and that we allow Wall Street to be so speculative. It's really fucking stupid that we allow a company like SpaceX to be valued what they are. It's really fucking stupid that we allow a company like Tesla to be valued what they are when there is no sane analysis of their financials that says they are worth anywhere near their stock price. It is all hype. 60-ish% of the value of SpaceX, based on their own projections, 60% of that relies on technology that does not yet exist, extraction of minerals that we do not know if they exist, that require a technology that does not exist, and also require a power source on the moon that also doesn't fucking exist. 60% of the projection and the value of their company is based on a sci-fi novel that Elon Musk has written. The same can be said for Tesla stock. Tesla sucks right now. They're getting destroyed. BYD is blowing them the fuck out. And the only reason Tesla even still exists is because we offer them protections in the form of tariffs for Chinese electric vehicles. If we allowed BYD to come into our country and sell their product, Tesla would go under tomorrow. It would be done, cooked. You'd have 8 douchebags still driving a fucking Cybertruck, and Tesla would have to shut their doors. And somehow with all this happening, as Tesla's bleeding market share, none of their innovation has worked out. What happened to those Tesla tunnels? Those are a catastrophic failure. Do we have self-driving? Tesla doesn't. Do we have these private roadways? Everything that Elon has promised and that led to the high valuation of Tesla hasn't come to fruition. So why is the stock price still high? Because people are holding on to it. Because they believe it's worth that much. That's what drives me nuts about all of these people who they speak and they wax so poetically about this. Like, the reality is, these things are very complicated. It's very complicated to navigate the stock market and economics and balance that with the spending from our federal government and the distribution of wealth. Not really. It's actually not that difficult if you don't have the dumbest fucking rules that exist. The only reason it's convoluted is because we've allowed so much speculation into our economy. And it's true that speculation has allowed us to generate massive amounts of wealth combined with like our ability to use our military and economic footprint to make sure that people are using the dollar worldwide, which maintains the value of our dollar. So even when we do inflationary acts like this, and even when we're playing like fucking magic with our economy. We're able to hold it up because we threaten everybody around the world. We have a massive population, and because we have so much money, other countries rely on this. So they're kind of forced to play ball with us and let us just do this imaginary economy shit. That's the truth. If we just had a system where the stock price was tied to revenue, we wouldn't have trillionaires. We wouldn't have 100 billionaires. Jeff Bezos wouldn't be worth anywhere near what he's worth. Same with Tim Cook. Tim Cook would be making a couple $1 million a year in salary. If we didn't allow stock buybacks, if we didn't allow people's compensation, like a CEO's compensation, to be entirely tied to the stock price, like we have just bastardized like a semi-sensible economic system into a convoluted fucking mess of a carnival game. And so when I think that's why some people they check out, they don't want to talk about it. It's because not only is it a rigged system, it's a stupid system. It makes no economic sense. And then nobody can just say like, we fucked up and we need to reset. Because if we reset, all of these people with all the money will lose all of their money. We won't. It's fine for us. If there's a great reset, you and I, everybody in this chat would be better off. Who would be hurt? The billionaires. So ask yourself when you're sitting here arguing this, like, what side are you on? You're just on the side of the billionaires need everything? It's really not that hard to see through this shit, but that's frustrating when he says that. And you can see Kristen Welker's like, wait, what are you talking about? What he's saying is this system is so convoluted and stupid and fucking rigged, and we're not going to change it, that you need somebody who understands the ins and outs of our system to manage this constant cycle of markets going up and then crashing, and markets going up and crashing. And what you really need at the helm of that is somebody who can manage these crashes. What if we just had a system that didn't require a crash like every 10 years? What if we did that?
Or whether that's done in a chaotic...
So can Elon just retire and run with everything? No, because Elon's compensation is tied to all of these projections into the future. Elon isn't cash heavy right now. If SpaceX fails, Elon's done. And he's not going to get anywhere near the compensation that he thinks he is if they don't fix this stock price.
And disruptive way that produces great conflict makes all the difference in the world.
Based on what
Lisa,
you're
great
seeing
show
right
today.
now,
Thanks.
do you think
Janelle,
that these tariffs
thanks
are
for keeping
being
us
carried
informed.
out in a practical way or a chaotic way?
I think we'll see. So far, very disruptive. So far, very disruptive, right? And so we don't know what the numbers are. But that could be part of a process, right? It depends where we are at the end of the 90 days. Because what was put there is like throwing rocks into the production system. And those impacts would be enormous in terms of the efficiency of the whole world. Great cost.
I want to ask you about something that's on...
So who said that we should hack into Elon's bank account and give everyone $5,000? Elon doesn't have money. He has equity, and he's able to use that equity to buy other companies and to pay for whatever he wants. But Elon doesn't have money. That's the thing about all of these billionaires. They don't actually have money, but they don't want money, because if they have money, they have to pay taxes. What they have instead is equity. And what's his name? What's the guy's name? He used to be on Comedy Central. Trevor Noah. He has like a great bit about this, about Elon. Like, we can't tax Elon's stock because it's unrealized gains. But then he takes those unrealized gains and he goes to a bank and says, give me money for these unrealized gains so I can buy Twitter. And then the bank gives him the money to buy Twitter, but you still can't tax him on those unrealized gains because it's stock. And then he goes and he takes the unrealized gains and he uses that stock and he says, I want to buy a jet. And he takes $100 million worth of stock, and he goes to the bank and he says, give me a loan on this stock. And here's my collateral. And the bank's like, cool, we'll give you the loan. And then he just is basically making those payments. And he has some money, but all he needs is enough to make the payments on his loans. And he's getting really favorable rates, sometimes 0% interest. And so he goes through life without actually like having a bank account full of money. He lives off of a credit card. They expense all that shit through his companies. And his real value is just the stocks that he has. And so ironically, he has enough money to do whatever he wants while also not having any money. Like that's how much of a fucking fairy tale our entire economy is. The richest people in our economy have no money and they can buy whatever the fuck they want with that no money. That's not good. That probably shouldn't exist.
A lot of people's minds. Your prediction.
Sorry, Berm said for Antifa non-reflecting pool party fee. Melanie said, great show. You have to read the article by the Washington Post on Tulsi and her cult leader. It's wild. I have it. It was on the outline today. I'm hoping we'll get to it tomorrow.
For the future, and I want to start with the R word. I know you think this is just a piece of it. Of course, I'm talking about a recession. Do you think it is likely that the United States will dip into a recession because of President Trump's tariffs?
No, I am understanding how our financial system works is my problem. In fact, the Chevy Premier, you saying I don't understand how our financial system works is evidence that you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I'm not talking about our financial system. I know how our financial system works. I know how banks work. I'm explaining to you exactly how he just bought Twitter. You're not understanding. He took stock from Tesla, used it as collateral to get the banks to give him cash to buy Twitter. They used that cash, which was not his cash. And by the way, he wasn't paying taxes on any of those that stock because it was unrealized gains. Then he got the cash to buy Twitter, paid out the people who owned Twitter, and then he got other people to do the same thing, probably using the leverage from stocks that they have to help finance Twitter. And then Twitter lost half its value, and it didn't really affect him. And he just continues to use stock as collateral. I do understand it. I'm saying it's a shitty system. I'm allowed to borrow against my stock to buy a house, to put down payments on cars. That is how the financial system works. We work in a deficit system. Yes, that is how it works. Yes, that is how it works. It's stupid. It's stupid that he can do that. If you borrow against your house, right, are you able to artificially inflate the value of your house with hype? Tesla's not really worth shit. Tesla should be worth Tesla stock should be about $30, but he's able to manipulate his stock price so he's worth far more than he actually generates. Tesla's not more valuable than Ford or GM, and they're 10x the price. That's the problem.
I think that right now we are at a decision-making point and very close to a recession. And I'm worried about something worse than a recession if this isn't handled well. A recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP, and whether it goes slightly there, we always have those things. We have something that's much more profound. We have a breaking down of the monetary order. We are going to change the monetary order because we cannot spend the amounts of money, so we have that problem. And when we talk about the dollar and we talk about tariffs, we have that. We are having...
Oh, I'm tweaking. It's all going to be fine. Okay, guys, don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine. Never mind. This is all bullshit. It's just all going to be fine. Nobody said we're not going to survive. There's going to be, but we're going to have an economic collapse. And how much of a collapse that is depends on our leadership. And I'm not very confident in our leadership.
Profound changes in our domestic order, how ruling is existing. And we're having profound changes in the world order. Such times are very much like the 1930s. I've studied history, and this repeats over and over again. So if you take tariffs, if you take debt, if you take the rising power challenging the existing power, if you take those factors and look at the factors, those changes in the orders, the systems, are very, very disruptive. How that's handled could produce something that is much worse than a recession, or it could be handled well. Let's take the debt situation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, very quickly, because I want to be very specific about what
Yeah, that's a good point, Brandon. Banks said everything will be fine in 2007. Yeah, I do think it's a glimpse, though, in the difference between the conservative mind and the progressive mind. The conservative mind is like, it's just a system. It all works out in the time, so I don't think about it. If I think about it too much, then I go crazy. And the progressives are like, I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to try and understand it. That's the main difference between conservatives and progressives. It's just like thinking and digging into stuff like this. And the reason that we can, just being honest, the reason that we can get duped like this and the reason we get so fucked in the ass is because conservatives are lazy and they don't think, and they don't join us here. They just think that, let's let them handle it. Let's let the rich people handle it. They know what's best for us. They can handle all this stuff. Natalie said, I have hope and then fear every day. Same. Robin said, gratitude, thank you. Deborah, thanks for joining the Dollar Train as well.
You're saying worse than recession. You're saying this is reminiscent of the 1930s. We should tell our viewers you correctly predicted the 2008 financial crisis. What is your prediction for where the country is headed right now?
Right now, we're at a juncture. Let's take the budget. If The budget deficit can be reduced to 3% of GDP. It will be about 7% if things are not changed. If it could be reduced to about 3% of GDP, and these trade deficits and so on are managed in the right way, this could all be managed very well. I believe that members of Congress should take...
Yes, all of this fraud could be managed very well. True, but maybe we just don't have such a shitty system once again. I like that Colonial Charlie. Conservatives thinking has a bungee attached. Any thought that starts to break new ground is yoinked back.
The pledge, what I call the 3% pledge, that in one way or another, that they will get that budget deficit down to that number. If they don't, we're going to have a supply-demand problem for debt at the same time as we have these other problems. And the results of that will be worse than a normal recession.
So,
to put a little context there, we are running out of time. Sorry. The same problem that caused SpaceX to go public, the same problem that is going to cause Anthropic and OpenAI to go public is the same problem our country has. There's nobody to buy the debt. Somebody needs to burden the debt or take on the burden of the debt. I don't know who's going to buy our debt. Japan has completely stopped buying our debt, and they're selling our debt. The rich people in this country, who for a long time have propped us up by buying our debt, aren't buying our debt anymore. People view buying debt from the United States as risky, and the reason they view buying debt from the United States as risky is because of how manipulated our economy is right now. The fact that Scott Besson is painfully aware, not painfully, keenly aware that 4% inflation is going to allow us to pay down our debt a little bit easier. But then also the fact that he'll go on TV and lie and say we're trending in the right direction while we're trending in the exact opposite direction, and he wants 4% inflation. Smart people around the world see that, and they see that the United States is playing games. And that's a risky game because Scott Besson needs buy-in. The Trump administration needs buy-in for this. And the American people are at a tipping point. And if the American people run out of patience before our federal government can keep that 4% inflation and tell us it's all going to be okay, it's all going to be okay, if the American people turn against the government before that, then we've got a problem. So we've got an issue paying our debt. The people that buy our debt either don't have money or don't trust us enough to buy our debt anymore. And then when the financial system, when we have a bunch of value being ripped out of our financial system, and these companies come to the federal government for a bailout, the federal government is going to need money to bail them out, but nobody wants to buy our debt. So then we're going to have to offer like pretty high rates in order to get people to buy our debt. We might have to say like, okay, we'll give you 6% interest. We'll give you 7% interest. And depending on how much people trust us, like we're going to have to move up higher and higher and higher on our interest that we offer for treasury bonds. And then that fucks us in the future because we're paying 6% interest on our debt. It's already the biggest expenditure we have is the interest on our debt. And we're in a position now where if it collapses, our interest on our debt will have to be much higher, or at worst, a little bit higher than it is now, just to convince other countries to buy our debt. That's the position that we're in currently. And so that's what he's talking about. It's a confluence of all these events collectively, and that's why he thinks it's going to be worse than 2008. I agree with him. I haven't heard a very good argument for why it wouldn't be. I don't even know what the fucking plan is. I'm not talking about Kevin Walsh. I'm talking about Scott Besson. Kevin Walsh doesn't set inflation. He sets interest rates where he's kept the same. But Scott Besson is the one that's kind of like out there messaging and lying about inflation. But they need inflation to be higher to pay down this debt. The higher inflation goes, the easier it is to pay down our debt. But then you have to balance how much does this affect everyday Americans. Can they afford this? And that's the balancing act that they're trying to strike right now.
And just to follow up on that point, worse than a recession, you're talking about the 1930s. What specifically are you warning of? Are you saying that it could be as bad as a depression?
Chevy, you're a dumb motherfucker. I just want to say that real quick. As a Republican, I fully admit that I'm furious about how much our debt is 40 years of Democrat rule by our country. 60% of our debt came from two different events: the Bush tax cuts and the Trump tax cuts. You don't get to talk about Democrats. Democrats aren't great, but 60% of it came from 2 actions, and those 2 actions are cutting taxes, which you guys all still think is a good idea.
Depression, what's your biggest fear?
The value of money. What is a storehold of wealth?
Actually, it's probably more
That
than
is a
60%
bond.
now.
In other words, one man's debt is another man's assets, bondholders. And so we're going to be in a situation where if that storehold of wealth is in jeopardy because there's too much supply and demand and so on, and we have a monetary inflation, we will have great disruptions. And that could be like the breakdown of the monetary system in 71. It could be like 2008. It's going to be very severe. I think it could be more severe than those if these other matters simultaneously occur. Imagine if we have a downturn politically and an international conflict.
What's worst case scenario that you're warning of? To be very specific, to put it into terms people can
very
understand.
specific, the value of money, internal conflict, that is not the normal democracy as we know it, and international conflict in a way that is highly disruptive to the world economy and could even be a military conflict, just as these breakdowns have occurred before. You know, we have a new order that began in 1945, a new monetary order and a new geopolitical order. And these go in cycles that can be measured. And I worry about the breakdown of that kind of an order, particularly since it doesn't need to happen, because there are certain things that could be done in which this is better, a better restructuring of these debts and actions taken.
So that takes me to my next question. You have this book, How Countries...
See how they're talking about restructuring of debt and not paying it down? I'm just like, we got to end trickle-down economics. Doesn't work. And it causes us to do some really like fucked up games to rig our economy and to try and play this game.
Go broke, the big cycle. What is the solution here?
Well, there are a series of solutions, but let's take the most important.
I bet he doesn't say tax the rich and massively regulate our markets.
And we have 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. 3% of GDP, bring that deficit down. It can be done in a bipartisan way, the way it was done between 1991 and 98. I explained how that could be done, doing things together for the greater good. And then internationally on all of these issues, to use American strength, but to negotiate well, to lay out ways in which bad conflict and inefficient policies don't create great disruptions, but get us through this in an orderly way.
All right, Ray Dalio, thank you so much. Your book?
All right. We'll leave it on this for Chevy if you're still here, because I want to show you this. This is, for the last bit, deficit spending by president. You've been saying tax the rich for half a century. Yeah, and we haven't got it. We haven't taxed the rich. Because Republicans and Democrats refuse to abandon trickle-down economics. Ronald Reagan, when he came into office, this is 79. I believe this is in billions. Is this in billions? Yeah, $79 billion is what he inherited in deficit spending. That was an annual deficit spending for Ronald Reagan that he inherited. He left with deficit spending at $153 billion. Then George H.W. Bush came in, and he was one term, came in at 153, raised it to 255. Back-to-back Republicans, with the introduction of trickle-down economics, massively explode deficit spending. Then Bill Clinton comes in at 255 billion. And through bipartisanship, spending reforms and tax reform, he left with a surplus of $128 billion. George Bush inherited that surplus and left with $1.413 trillion. Then Obama inherited that mess and left at $665 billion. Reduced deficit spending. How? By reducing spending and increasing taxes, closing loopholes, regulation. Then Trump inherited that $665 billion, and look what he fucking did to it. 2.776 trillion. Disrespectfully, completely disrespectfully, Republican voters, shut the fuck up forever about government spending. Shut the fuck up about debt. It is you. You're the problem. It's you. And it is remarkable that we can show you these numbers and you dumb fucks will leave with the same opinion that you showed up with. There is no argument for fiscal responsibility from conservatives, from Republicans. You own this shit. And yes, Democrats were along for the ride. And yes, Democrats refused to do the necessary steps that we need to actually reform all of this shit. But shut the goddamn fuck up fucking forever. I don't know how all of you, 70 million of you dumb motherfuckers have the same wrong opinion that 30 seconds on Google would prove was wrong, and you're going to leave today with the same fucking dipshit opinion that you showed up with today, you cultist motherfuckers. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how the fuck so many people became convinced that 2 + 2 is 8, but good Lord, you're here. And you're here every fucking day. Did Chevy stick around for that? Probably not. I don't want to hear another word from you ever. This YouTuber calling someone dumb. Yeah, I'm not that smart. That's the crazy thing. I'm just a YouTuber. And I'm smarter than every fucking Republican in this country. Because I can do a Google search. That's how shitty and dumb your entire fucking party is. That a 30-second Google search makes me more educated than every motherfucking person in your party. You are correct to say that's crazy that a YouTuber would think he's so goddamn smart. That's correct. It is crazy for me to think that I am smarter than that many people. But here we are. Not one person in your party will admit this, and it's absolutely, unequivocally true. And that everybody you listen to will stand up and campaign during midterms and be like, the Democrats have a spending. All they want to do is tax you to death and spend you to death. You're the ones that blow up the deficit. You're the ones that fucked us. Trickle-down economics is a catastrophic failure. Cata-fucking-strophic, and you're going to feel it. We're all going to feel it. And I said earlier, I want to correct something. I said, well, we'll get through it. Yeah, we, as a country, will get through it. But people are going to die. People are going to die in this country, but people are going to die in poor countries because of what we do. The greed and the refusal to operate under sound economic principles will cause the death and destruction of hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people across the world. And even after that happens, and even after, just like in 2008, you needed a Democrat to come in and clean shit up, even after that, you'll spend all of those years blaming Democrats for the problem that you created. And you selfish, dumb motherfuckers will try and elect, you'll try and elect somebody again that wants to come in and cut taxes. And you'll do it because you think it will save you money and you think it'll make your life better. And it won't. It will be used as lubricant to bend you over and fuck you in the ass. And the rich people will take all the goddamn money. And they'll tell you that you're a bitch if you think that they shouldn't have all the money and that you're just a jealous little bitch. And you'll be like, you know what? I don't want to be a jealous little bitch, so I'll just keep taking it. And we'll have to keep doing this fight. My hope is that maybe this is what we need, because the last time we had an economic confluence like this was the Great Depression. And for 50 fucking years, conservatives couldn't get power. For 50 fucking years, you got no power. Nobody trusted you. Nobody trusted your model. But what happened, unfortunately, is too many people died. And too many people with money then scared you about socialism. And eventually we got Ronald Reagan, who was like, you know who the problem is? Poor people. And you're like, yeah, fuck poor people. And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? Let you keep more of your money. And you're like, fuck yeah, he's going to let us keep more of our money. And then he didn't. And then you didn't. It might on paper look like you're taxed less, but you're taxed substantially more. You have less money at the end of the month. I don't know if Asta Sophia is here, our friend from Iceland. She gets taxed at like 50% of her income. She just took a fucking 4-week vacation and sent hundreds of dollars to this show while she was on vacation. And her health care is paid for. And education is paid for. And she gets taxed at 50% and has more money than most people here. And that's just reality for these countries who recognize that it doesn't matter if your money goes to the government or if it goes to a private health insurer. All you really want at the end of the day is to have money to spend. So if 50% of your money goes to taxes, but then you have 30% of your money left over, who the fuck cares? In America, you might pay 20% of your money to taxes and you don't have a dime left over at the end of every month. You're broke at the end of the month. So why do you, and then conservatives are like, yeah, that's why we can't tax people more. Oh, word? You can't have health care that's half the cost? You can't have education that's free for everybody? We can't yank capitalism out of the education system? No, what conservatives are doing right now is they're like, you know what will fix education? You know what we really ought to do? You know how when you go to school, nobody becomes a millionaire that works at that school? What if rich people could get rich off of educating people? Oh, yeah, that'll work. What if we took a lot of that money that we're investing in education and we made sure that some wealthy person was getting a cut off of their charter schools? And that's one thing if you just want to run a charter school that way. But then Republicans are like, we got to figure out a way to make this even better. What if the taxpayer money, the money that taxpayers use to fund education, what if we took that money and we put it into these charter schools and a percentage of that could go to a fucking rich guy? And Republicans are like, yeah, I'm going to come. A rich guy's going to get more rich off of education. Because you think 2 + 2 = 8. Some of you think 2 + 2 = fucking potato. You have the dumbest fucking economic plan in the world. The whole world. I mean, I'm talking about, like, if there's a country out there that's like, our economic plan is we're going to collect rocks and we're going to build our economy on rocks. And you're like, what? That's better than Republicans. It's honestly better. It is remarkable how stupid you have allowed yourselves to become. So a bunch of billionaires just steal all the money and you're fighting for them and they sit back and they laugh. And they're laughing right in your fucking faces while you're just like, here, you can have it all. Have it all. What else do you need? You need anything else? They're like, yeah, maybe. We'll hit you up. Can we put a data center in your backyard? Yeah, what's that going to do? Well, it's going to cause all your water prices to go up. It's going to cause your electricity to go up. Oh, and it's going to drive you insane because of the noise. It's also going to cause cancer. We're going to pollute your water, and the air you breathe and the water that you drink is fucked. Any sort of livestock that you eat in that general area is also going to make you sick. And you're like, okay, but this will make you richer. Yeah, we're going to get a lot richer off of this. Okay, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll just sacrifice our lives for you guys. Thank you. I'm going to go down to the town hall now and call everybody a bitch who doesn't want to give all their money to the billionaires. This is why MAGA doesn't debate anymore. This is why, once again, every single day, someone's like, I'm going to come up and I'm going to correct the record, and you never fucking do. You got to wake the fuck up. Country needs to wake the fuck up. We need way more Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warrens, AOCs, Zoran Mamdanis. We need way more of those because they're just doing math. And then MAGA's like, math is woke. And also I'm mad about trans people for some reason. I don't know why, but I don't like math and I don't like trans people, and Elon needs more money. Diet Pepsi said RTP rant fuel, thank you. Jennifer said W. Janelle said, okay, just a few more dollars for your glorious end of the show rant. I appreciate that. Illusion said, I've chatted with you about this convergent economic crisis. I appreciate you put this out there. This administration's incompetent. Or, yeah, dumb, whatever you want to call it. Vessel said, long live Jen. Maybe we'll get another debate someday. Stacy said, I learn new things from you every day. Thanks as always for your research. You're appreciated. I appreciate that, Stacy. Let me check over here. I think I got that. Deborah, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Alberto said, thank you for your great work. Appreciate that. Jen, did I miss any?
I'm double checking right now. Do we get the final vote for the movement?
Oh, let me check that. Whoa, in a stunning upset. V for Vendetta makes a comeback, and V for Vendetta is going to be the movie tonight with 54% of the
Really?
votes. Yeah.
I was
Stunning
proactive
comeback.
and was made an event like thumbnail for it. I thought it was gonna be the campaign.
Nah, V for Vendetta made a comeback, and tonight, if you were, so just a reminder, that's for paid members. If you want to join us for movie night tonight, you can be a paid member on YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok, and then you got to message Jen on Discord so she can get you in. Facts.
Well, I'm happy about that because I didn't want to watch the campaign.
I love the campaign. Facts said Elon needs more. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. I think that's it. Jen, did I miss any? Did you check?
Yeah, I'm double checked. Yep, that's it. I'm on. So
Okay. Thank you, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Special shout out to our TikTok viewers. Thank you for gifting today. Johnny was in the leader, and you kept our streak alive 3 days in a row without TikTok taking us down. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for everybody who was able to help us knock out our gift goal. I appreciate that. And until I see you tomorrow morning, go outside and touch grass, would you? If you can't touch grass, smoke that grass. If you can't touch grass or smoke grass, best of luck to you. Reach down. Find your bootstraps and pull yourself up by those bootstraps. And once you're pulled up and the shoes or the boots are tied tightly, go put those boots on the ground. But before you do, look in the mirror and say something nice about yourself, and hydrate because it's hot. It's summertime. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Take a little time out of your day today to tell somebody that you love them. But most importantly, love yourself. And until I see you all tomorrow morning, bright and early, best of luck to you. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.